Gentlemen No Class is proud to be a part of the HC Universal Network. Gentlemen No Class is produced, mixed, and edited by M5 Studios.
This podcast contains explicit language and is intended for adult audiences. The views and opinions of Gentlemen No Class are strictly for comedic purposes and should not be taken literally. For instance, like this disclaimer. Now grab yourself a pint and enjoy.
And welcome to another episode of Gentlemen No Class, a podcast that when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. I'm Jake.
I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Rob.
There's always a pause with the guests coming in. That's awesome.
Because we don't ever prep them.
Well,
that's
I was actually taking
pointing.
a sip as that happened, so that muy caliente was down my throat. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. And like it or not, gentle ladies and gentlemen, we are the hosts for tonight's episode. So what's going on, Chris? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Welcome to the House of No Class.
Yes.
Cris Hernandez,
First
our guest
time
for
here.
the week.
Yes, and if nobody's
Well, in
actually
the
seen it,
studio.
your listeners, I want to tell what beautiful the studio.
Go ahead.
Don't give Rob that. No.
I got to.
Don't give
It's
him that.
gorgeous.
Yes.
There are,
Stroke that ego. Go on, Chris. Tell me about it.
Just
Dick, baby.
if you could see it, the fridge is just magnificent, full of
They're
beer.
going
for
to
the
get
guests.
a good shot. We're going to start live streaming here. This is episode 64.
That's it, the fridge?
I think by episode 66 or 67, I think that we should be.
Yeah, that's fair.
We should be live streaming.
64,
Yeah,
really?
just take a
Yeah.
shot from the fridge out, and then just the only time they're just going to see you open it and take a beer.
We
Which will be
have,
often
we have done a
enough.
couple of shots like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have. I'm trying to figure out how we can podcast inside that fridge. So we don't have to get Paul to, hey, beer me, you know?
We just have to turn
Let
the
me know
AC
how it
down
works.
real low and then just put all the beers out on the table.
Here you
Kind of
go.
like we do already, but not so much.
Inside out thing going on. I like that.
So we've reached week 84 of the COVID lockdown. So
That's a good count.
I don't
didn't
even
know where we were.
I
So
don't
it's
even.
made up.
I don't even
Yeah.
know
That
what
number
the actual
sounds
count
accurate.
is.
That's a wonderful count, though. I'll go with it.
Probably in the 80s.
I think
or
it's
90s.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I'm sure.
so current events.
Do you believe in follow the leader?
Follow the leader. What?
Corn?
What the fuck
is
does that mean?
No, like the corn, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
well, I mean, you know, yeah. We talked about it. I'm on the corn side. Yes, my guilty pleasure.
Has
Of when
the,
I
What
was
he means corn side. There's a corn
I was trying
sticker
to go
in
with
front of
has
him
the,
on the
has
table.
the commander-in-chief ever wore a face mask at all? No.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
You know,
I
look,
don't think
we're
he
gonna
cares.
go there. I don't believe in face masks. There's no face masks.
Okay.
You know, so I don't.
I've never seen him wear it. I was just
I don't
curious
know.
if you
I
guys seen
don't
it.
think. Actually, he went to a face mask factory and did not wear a face
that's-
mask. So, I mean, if that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
There
you go.
there you go. Perfect.
So, there was a couple of big celebrity deaths this week, wasn't there?
Big, eh?
Who died?
Little Richard?
Yeah.
Little Richard. There
Oh
you
yeah,
go.
Little Richard died. There was somebody else that died too. That was pretty.
Oh shit! Then guess not big enough.
I know, right? Just skip right past Little Richard.
I am sorry.
I'm trying to I'm hoping one of y'all has it while I'm
Leave it
trying to
to Rob.
Google this.
I know.
real quick.
It's funny because I
Probably some
almost.
Oh yeah, fucking Jerry Stiller died.
Oh,
and
yes.
nobody's gonna mention
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, you
I
just
did
Google him.
myself. Yeah, that's
Wow.
right.
Yeah,
I love him.
overshadowed by
Little word of
Little
advice:
Richard.
never let anybody sign your checks.
Yeah.
Heavyweights.
It's gonna be a very very sad Festivus this year.
Well, apparently,
Yeah.
a forgotten
Who
one.
What an awesome dad
Which
Ben
hurt
Stiller had.
more?
What's that?
Which hurt more?
Well, the fact that I didn't even know Little Richard died till y'all just said something, is probably Jerry Stiller.
Well, I guess. So,
Jerry
what is
Stiller
this? Is
affected
this
me
the
more.
music versus the show kind of interest? I guess. I don't know.
I
It
don't
doesn't
know.
matter.
You know,
This guy's
just-
a sound engineer.
I'm just kidding. I knew Little Richard died. I saw that.
Busted
I'm
the
not
chops.
completely.
Good save.
I'm not
I
completely.
like the back end.
disgusted.
IW.
Well, just Jerry Stiller just provided a lot of entertainment for all
He
the
really
years for
did.
me.
And he was
He was
doing it
cutting
well
edge
into-
on a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
well
I mean,
into
he was
his,
so
like,
fucking
80s
funny.
and shit, or
Yeah.
70s, you know?
I mean,
What, King of the Queens? The
Yeah,
father?
Seinfeld.
The father?
Yeah.
You know? Heavyweight?
Yeah.
stop short and grab.
Yeah.
What's that one movie where he's in Vegas and he's in
the
Heartbreak
Kid.
Heartbreak Kid.
I you know, and I know people shit on the movie, but I think he's great in Zoolander. That's right. I think it's like actually that's my favorite.
Yeah,
you know,
I've never seen that movie.
I liked him a lot in
I'm serious. I haven't seen it.
What I mean, are we really? You're
I've never seen it.
I've never seen Zoolander.
I've seen it.
Oh, come
it's pretty funny.
No,
It's guilty. I mean,
it's
pretty guilty pleasure. Just watch the damn thing.
It's not bad.
I mean, damn, it opens up with people fucking singing Wham and blowing themselves up in gasoline. I mean, come on, man. You're going to be all right.
I have
Roy Horn of Siegfried and Roy died also.
Really?
That's what I'm about to say.
COVID at that.
Oh, yeah, he died of
And he actually died of COVID, yes.
I did not know
Well,
that.
I'm pretty sure he was pretty sick from that tiger attack. That probably had something to do with it.
So, ain't that a bitch? You live through the tiger attack, die from a...
barely lived through
it. And,
so, when did he die? Like, what was this?
I think a little bit before Little Richard, am I right?
2 weeks ago?
I didn't know that. Wow.
Oh, is
Right
this
after
the
the
Threes
last
thing?
podcast.
Are we in the Threes thing?
And then Brian Howe from Bad Company died.
Okay, that hurt, actually.
There's been a lot of...
Damn
that's
it,
what I'm
that
saying.
one
There's
hurt.
been a lot of...
Because I really like Bad Company. Yeah. That's definitely...
I do too. I like that. That's classic rock.
That's classic rock. That my dad, jamming that shit out and still thinking he's cool. But he's not.
Hey, that's how... We're not that far behind.
Oh!
Yeah. Well,
I mean, what kind of music are we be jamming out when we're in our 60s?
Blink-182.
You ever think about that? Is that going to be classic rock?
Yeah, probably.
And it's, I want to say this. I was actually, it was one of these like, it was serious, channels. It was like the 2000s, and they actually had Lit playing and
My Own Worst Enemy.
Yeah, and by the way, I was kind of sitting there. I was like, God, this is so quintessential this time.
I really want to do like an acoustic stripped down cover of My Own Worst Enemy, so it doesn't sound anything like that.
Yeah.
Go for it.
And I'm going to do it. Like I've been looking for a project song that may be
like I want you guys to go listen to that song, and everything they do in there musically is everything that happened in that like period of time for music. I was just like, oh my God, this is like commercially was commercially perfect.
Well, I play in a lot of cover bands, and like every single cover band I've ever been in that does like quote unquote more modern music, that is always one of the songs that are like, oh, we should do that song, and I'm always like, God, fuck no. God, no.
Is it the Freebird kind of thing?
Yeah.
What about Finch? I think it's like right there with Finch. You remember Finch?
The one hit wonder Finch? No.
Help me out. Finch. What do you got? What's the song?
Weren't you a huge fan, Jake?
I'm a fan of
What
Finch.
It Is to Burn.
What It Is to Burn. There's another one.
Letters to You.
Letters to You.
Oh no!
Everybody loves Letters to You more.
I liked it.
No.
Well, no.
What It Is to Burn is so much. It's
sorry. I think this goes up there with like Will and Lewis when they talk about what is it, that My Morning Glory or some shit, and I'm like,
Taking Back Sunday.
Taking Back Sunday. I'm like, what is it or whatever. I'm like, I've never listened. I never.
I like it. Let's stick with that.
I never listened to any of that, so I'm like,
Newfound Glory.
Yeah, Well, okay, I guess is it
Newfoundland Glory?
What band is it? Is it Taking Back? What is it?
They talk about Taking Back Sunday all the time.
Okay, what is it? Is that their band?
Will Lewis.
Sorry guys, I'm not trying to burn y'all, but really, I know that's y'all's thing. Y'all love it, and I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I think it's
they'll never hear. Actually, so then I'll tell them to listen to it.
It's probably that or Thursday, maybe.
If all of our circle of friends knew how much shit we talked about them on this podcast, they would listen and probably wouldn't be our friends anymore.
Well, this is kind of good. That could be the experiment then, just
I can tell you don't listen because we've talked I've talked mad shit about you the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, you did.
Shit.
Like we have our imaginary friend named
Burn,
Chris.
motherfucker.
Fuck.
Hey, don't sit there. Chris is sitting there.
Son of a bitch. So is that forcing me to go listen to the last 2 episodes? And I go there and they're like, you were never fucking. We never mentioned you one fucking time.
Well, no, we did because they were like, it's kind of in passing. We're kind of like, oh man, it'd be really nice if we had a guest tonight.
Well, it's funny. I was having these conversations with Ashley, and I was like, I think I've blown them off several times. Like I really have to go.
Yeah, I brought that up too.
And she's like, when are you? I thought you were. I'm like, no, I think I really owe him. I gotta go. It's gotta happen this time. I've really been an asshole, so I'm here. And I love y'all, and I'm sorry.
Chris is gracious with his presence, and we didn't even have a good topic to talk about. No, we did because I got a couple of good things that I want to bring up about our topic for tonight. But
you do, huh?
Yeah, but a couple other things.
It's Rob, of course he does.
Well, I'm sorry that I do my research for the show. I mean,
who's sorry?
You're sorry.
And I want you to know, I performed to like any one of my students. I went and watched a bunch of clips.
Nice.
I did not go back and watch that movie because that movie ruined my fucking childhood.
I don't blame you.
For a solid year. I think
I've never seen
Let's
it
discuss your
week.
childhood.
I think I would. No, my mom. I watched it with my family.
Ooh, let's get into this segment for it. Let's go.
Just letting you know. We'll continue because I don't want to ruin.
Not
I don't
a
want to
mo-
ruin
well,
what
not
you're
a
into.
movie.
But it was.
We didn't mean to pick a movie that fucking
movie actually
traumatized you as
really
a child.
fucked me. I'm not gonna lie. It really screwed me up.
So
let's
we've
movies
been
like that.
enjoying a nice Russian Imperial Stout that Chris and
yeah,
his
dude.
friends brewed.
Thank
brought
you
us.
very much. Yes.
We
Shout
always
out to
love it when
Mitch and
people
Mark.
That's the
bring
reason
in,
why I'm buzzing already.
That's not a ton of alcohol in there,
No?
is there?
No, the Russian Imperial Stout should have a good hefty.
I thought, but this one didn't. It wasn't real hoppy. I really enjoyed it because it wasn't hoppy, and usually the hops is what drives up that alcohol.
The sugar,
Dude, that's
because
Chris.
the
Don't
sugar,
take that
the
shit.
sugar actually is what was really gets alcohol because we put a lot of. Trust me, that one.
Y'all put extra sugar.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
that I'm
like the
more
Kool-Aid.
than willing to
Okay.
bet that one definitely got you somewhere
Did I
above
do the
10%.
Imperial sugar? Or no?
Nice.
That's not what the Imperial is.
Nice
No,
dad
that was
joke.
weak.
By the
It's
way.
dad joke.
Yeah,
It's
dad
good.
joke. Yeah,
I
come
like
on-
it.
come on,
You're a
dad
dad.
shoes.
Oh
You're
my
a dad.
God, get away
You're a
from
dad.
me.
He's got the New Balances on.
Calling him out big time. Nobody immediately.
And I spilled my beer like a dad.
Yeah.
God damn it. That was a good one. I like it.
He's gonna get out his tight stick.
Nice.
Oh fuck!
Tight
She's gonna
stick.
kick my ass for this stain.
Sick burn, bro.
That's fine because it's true.
Look, I'm gonna be there soon, so don't
So,
worry about
Oh my
we're-
god, I'm nowhere near that.
Jake, you're partaking in some mini boss, I see,
Yes,
and
mini boss
Chris
is
is
my jam.
killing off some of this Mu Caliente that I
love
have in
it.
the
And,
fridge.
I love
what
it.
have I been killing off?
A bag of Lay's.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Unfortunately.
My patience.
But, you know, this podcast will still be brought to you by Eureka Heights, right?
That's
Because
right.
914
As
West
usual.
18th Street over in the Heights. 1 to 6 or 1 to 7, depending on the day. You can swing by over there, pick yourself up.
1 to 7,
cases of
1 to
beer,
6.
get you some paraphernalia, some
nice
shirts and hats and
tackers.
stuff like that.
Yeah, good
Some
paraphernalia, too.
tackers.
Wow,
Yeah,
I love the events you'll hold there. I had no idea. I mean, no wonder,
Yeah,
but I mean,
well,
that's great.
yeah.
We're trying
Y'all's
to do
events
more,
are always
and
awesome.
Yeah,
It's
we-
always
we
fun. I
had
love doing it.
What's
over there.
funny is that we had a lot of stuff on the books
Yeah.
with Eureka Heights. We were really going to expand our partnership with them some more.
Yeah.
Specifically with Comic Palooza.
Yeah.
But with the COVID thing, everything got canceled, and it really sucks. So
Well, keep it up.
I
man.
think this
We
weekend
are-
would have been Comic Palooza, I think.
I think you're right. No,
Or
yeah,
not this
Mother's Day.
weekend, or
Yeah,
next
yeah,
weekend.
Mother's Day weekend
Oh,
was
last
Comic
weekend?
Palooza. Yeah,
That
so
sucks, man.
yeah, it really does
It's
suck.
like our Super Bowl.
We'll come back. We'll come back double
Yeah.
strong next year, and we've got some good ideas that we had for this year. We'll kind of combine them and hopefully expand a little bit.
Maybe
And
COVID field.
yeah, that'd be good.
No?
Yeah, the best thing we after the COVID
Life
thing is
for
over,
free.
we should do street interviews and like the best thing that you got out of COVID.
Man in
That'd be
street,
cool.
right? Yeah.
There you
Like,
go.
Man on the
yeah, you
street.
go.
Yeah.
Fucking write that
Yeah.
idea down. That's a good
Yeah, I
one.
like
That's a
that.
good one.
Yeah. What did you
Why
get
do I need
from
to write
COVID?
it down? It's recorded for posterity.
Yeah, but we're not going to go back and listen to it. So
I
I'm
do.
just saying. But you're going to forget. We're gonna
Johnny
forget.
Depp, don't fucking watch your own movies.
No, that's Joaquin Phoenix does that.
And Johnny Depp.
I've
Johnny
been
Depp too.
Look at
does
that fucking stash. That is total depth material.
Don't
that
make
is
me bring the
Captain
hair
Jack Sparrow
down.
right here next to us.
I've done that so many fucking times. A
So
lot.
my daughter,
fine.
we've been into watching like series of movies, obviously, because you can't go anywhere. So we watch a movie like every single night. So we've gotten out of like, oh, we've seen all these movies. We've done all the Harry Potter movies, and I fall asleep if we watch Star Wars because I've seen them so many times. But so we're doing like franchises, and we just last night we polished off the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. So she had never
how
seen
many
any
are
of them.
there?
What a
Five. There's five of them.
Five of them. Shit.
Damn, I missed the last
Are
three.
they on Disney Plus?
Yeah, they're
Nice.
except the last one. The last one, got off the Voodoo account. Straight raped the Voodoo account for that. Thank you for that.
Why is it? Hold on, but why
you
is
own it on Voodoo?
I don't know that.
Hold on, but why is the last one not on Disney Plus?
Because they've probably licensed it to somebody else, and until
okay.
that license is expired.
Well, yeah,
they
no,
can't
I
get
just
it back.
I was kind of wondering, was it that
What?
current? Because I'm like, fuck, I just kind of got lost after the Black Pearl or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what they do, well, like all the movies that are licensed to
That's the
Netflix.
first
Where the
one, I
fuck
think.
we are in that series?
Yeah, so like once they license the movie out, they have to wait for that contract to
Yeah,
expire
it
to get it
makes
back.
sense.
So
Yeah.
we've had to wait for that.
Okay,
What's that other Johnny Depp film? Or Johnny Depp did
Edward Scissorhands?
No. It can't. It commercially
Sweeney
it
Todd?
bombed. No. It was with what's that guy from
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Secret Window.
No.
Hunter S. Thompson?
It was a
Ninth
big. It was a big
Rum
budget
Diary.
film. It was a western.
Oh,
was,
Dead Man Walking?
No,
Oh, I know what you're
Rango.
talking about.
Oh,
It's
Rango?
the guy from what's his name?
No, you're talking. Yeah,
Oh,
you're
the
talking
Lone
about
Ranger.
The Lone Ranger.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Disney.
With Army
he
Hammer.
was
Yeah,
the
Army
Indian,
Hammer. There we
yeah.
go. That's the guy I was trying to say.
Oh, okay.
From fucking goddamn the twins, Winklevoss
Fuck, that's
twins.
wild, because it really, that
Yeah,
is
no,
two
'cause, well,
westerns. Dead
I've
Man
heard-
Walking and...
but I've-
We went through a lot of movies just now
Yeah, we
trying to get
did.
to fucking.
The
well,
reason
hey,
I-
we're
Ranger.
I was
clearly
up-
Johnny
Yeah.
Depp is something
What's
we
eating
know.
Gilbert
Well,
Grape?
that's
I was
good,
right
yeah.
there.
The reason I brought it up is because a lot of, they said it did poorly,
Mama!
but I heard it's actually a really good movie though.
I
That
haven't watched it. I do
Lone
want to
Ranger.
watch it.
I heard it's a really good movie.
I've been
either
watching
way.
movies that I've been wanting to watch,
Yeah.
for a long time and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I watched
there
Back
was,
to the Future last night.
There's a
I had
movie with
itching
Armie
for it.
Hammer in it.
It's a funny name.
Oh god damn! What movie is it?
The Man
I don't
from
think it's a.
Uncle?
Baking soda.
I can't remember if it's a James Bond movie or not.
The
but
Man
I've been
from
raping,
Uncle?
I've been,
You've been
yes,
raping
the
the
Man
sh-
from Uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good movie.
I never
yeah,
finished
watched
it.
that.
Yeah,
That's
that
good.
was a pretty decent movie.
Yeah, well, I
It
mean,
was not
what's his
bad.
name? I mean,
Yeah.
look, people give
Henry
Henry
Cavill.
Cavill.
That's,
They give him so much shit. He's decent.
No,
Yeah.
dude, he was
You
the
know,
best part of that Mission Impossible
well,
movie. That
I
he
mean,
did.
I think they give him crap
That
because
body,
he's
though.
That rockin' body.
They give him crap because he's still. I get it. His acting's a little stilted, but there's something genuine about him. So fuck off, man. He was
Have
a
you
good
seen the beginning
Superman.
of Bloodsport?
He was a
Yeah.
good
He's
Superman.
Has anybody seen the beginning of Bloodsport?
I haven't seen
I
the
haven't
end
seen-
of
I
Bloodsport
haven't-
or the middle.
We're talking about
I haven't seen any of these.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, the
yeah.
acting in that
Jean-Claude.
movie is phenomenal.
Is it?
Should have got a fucking Oscar, man.
Jean Claude.
Yeah. No, but I noticed
Why
that.
don't
You
you
just,
ask him?
are you plowing through the fucking 007 movies?
I'm trying to.
I saw you're on GoldenEye
trying.
already.
You know, it's
No.
interesting.
Okay, so I skipped. So I watched Doctor No.
Plowing.
I watched From Russia with Love, and I watched Goldfinger, and then I started the next one. The dialogue for the women in the 70s.
Oh, God,
like
what is
James,
it? What is
they
it?
are fucking terrible.
Do
they
you
are
wanna
really
lay
hard
down?
to watch. I mean,
What
they're
would
just,
you like?
They're just
My
really
pleasure.
hard to watch. You know what I mean? Like
Basically, as someone
What's an
who works at
example?
fucking Chick-fil-A. Is that
Like the-
my
like
pleasure.
pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
It's
Order for Jake.
It's the acting and the dialogue that's bad.
it's not really the acting. It's just like the plots are so bad. Like the plots are just not good. So like I had to skip ahead, and I was like, I'm gonna jump into the Pierce Brosnan
There you
age,
go.
and
Yeah.
I'm gonna knock those out
Yeah.
real quick, and then I'll
Fucking
go back to
Ed.
Sean Connery.
Like that Ed movie.
I had an itch the other day to watch GoldenEye because that's really, I mean, for me, if there was a James
Dude.
Bond movie I grew like from the start was GoldenEye.
GoldenEye,
That
yeah,
was it
and
for
so
me.
that for
Yeah.
me too. So
Casino
like,
Royale
I
is a
remember,
favorite,
I
though.
remember
Whoa,
playing
whoa.
GoldenEye on
God damn,
N64.
Yes.
and I played that after I watched. I don't think I've seen the movie since I used to play the game all the
You
time.
play the game first.
No. I
Oh,
played
okay.
the game after,
Gotcha, I got you.
but I haven't seen the movie since.
I
played
love
the
this because
game.
this actually this is an insight from being a young man. I mean, really, playing GoldenEye, we know it's one of the greatest
yeah, for
movies.
sure.
Tell me, is that not one of the games that you could honestly
yeah.
say that was like when you saw the movie, when you went and played the game, it's the fucking movie.
It is. That's
Like,
I was
that's
watching.
the craziest
I was watching
thing,
it
and
on-
they did good.
I never
Like,
really got into the
every
movie, or
movie
the
game
game.
Oh,
is
dude.
shit.
Oh,
and
yeah,
this,
GoldenEye
and this
was
one
so good.
is amazing. How did
Fair
they
point.
do that?
Yeah, fair
And they
point.
did
Yeah.
this in like 2000 and what? Or is it 99?
No,
98.
98?
97, 98.
And that's rare.
because
I think
GoldenEye
Rare
was
did it?
95, so it may have
Come
been earlier than
on.
that.
And that's nuts.
Dude,
that's
GoldenEye,
nuts.
the multiplayer mode too, big
Oh.
head, no all slaps. Oh, come on, man!
The chop,
that
dude.
shit was the bomb.
The golden gun.
the paintballs.
Oh.
I mean,
dude, I
no,
loved it.
it's
And
so good.
the sleeper on Nintendo 64, or excuse me, was the South Park game. Sorry, where you could pee on the snowball. I don't know. Nobody ever
haven't
played
seen
that
that.
game.
No, I never
Guys,
played
go
that
go play a South Park
So-
game. Really, do
They
yourself
got
a
a
favor.
wrong.
Are we in a time in our life right now is when our older siblings were like, man, Pong was the best game ever, man.
Yeah.
They don't make games like that anymore.
We've reached that.
Probably.
Is this
We
one
are
of those
there.
that
You could seriously go back and play GoldenEye right now, and
Yeah.
it would be really good.
Yeah.
It's still like where all the hiding spots are and everything like that. And I mean, it's not Halo, it's not Call of
Yeah.
Duty or
It's-
anything
Yeah,
like
why
that.
not?
But that shit
Kind
is
of
still
pioneered
holds
certain
No,
up.
things.
and Rob's right.
Yeah.
What you want to say is that really the gameplay mechanics really have not changed. Just really the worlds are expansive,
that's
the graphics.
I think
but
it
Yeah,
set
it's
the
the
stage
beginning.
for
It really
the first
did.
person
Yeah,
shooter.
yeah,
like
absolutely.
the expansive world.
I mean, even think about was it Mario 64? Think about the way that game.
Doom is still the
Doom,
original.
yeah.
Doom
Doom
is still like it's so revolutionary for its time. People still. I have the apps. I have Doom 1 and 2 on my phone. I love it. I grew up playing that. Like, just
Can you
it's
imagine
so popular.
that? Just I want you
It still
you
is.
to take a step back and think
Unreal
about that.
Tournament, man.
You have Doom 1 and 2
I
on
know.
your phone.
That's
Doom
yeah.
2 used to take
So many floppy
10
disks.
floppy disks
Yeah.
to install.
Did you ever do
into your
deathmatch on
computer.
56K
10 floppy
modem?
disks.
I don't
Did you ever-
remember.
I did that.
Oh,
My
I never
neighbor.
played it online,
I
no.
played online 56K. It was fucking
Wow.
modem, man. It was fucking
patience
crazy.
on you, man.
Yeah, fucking Sinbad.
Well, I'm
man.
about to
The
say,
guy-
I'm
this guy
sure
looked like
I would say
Sinbad.
you assholes have got to remember Jersey Village. Everybody had Unreal Tournament on
Yeah, I
all the
remember.
computers.
Yeah, Unreal Tournament, man. I used to go to browsers.
Unreal-
I used to go to browsers and people would play that and Diablo.
So you'd be
Oh.
sitting there with like BCIS and
BCI.
which I want to let you know that there's still like we still have a class like that in school
Oh, no shit.
now.
What is that?
And,
What does BCIS stand for?
Business Computers Integrated
Integration Systems.
Systems, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You just learn how to do an Excel spreadsheet, probably. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Okay. Click this button, and
Yeah.
this is how you calculate formulas. And
Do you remember they taught us how to do Boolean strands to search things like pluses when you add things? And I'm just like,
when you
now you think of it's
search?
like Google now is just no hot feet porn, and I don't
know.
need to put any pluses in there. It all comes back.
Oh yeah, like on the search results. Okay,
There's
yeah, I
no
remember
pluses
that.
required. I
Yeah.
get my feet porn when I need it.
Damn,
so many
fucking
things-
Quentin Tarantino.
Notice that I didn't say foot porn. I said feet porn.
Yeah, that's
that makes
true.
it less weird.
That makes
No,
it just
doesn't.
slightly. Actually, no, it's
Fucking
because me and
Quentin Tarantino
Ashley were
here.
talking
I mean,
about. No, we were talking about the Tarantino thing, and she was trying to explain to me about his foot thing.
Yeah,
And
every
I'm like,
movie,
I
there's
told
a
her,
scene with
I was
foot.
like,
He's
I was
got a
like, I
foot
can't. I
fetish.
was like, I don't. What are you talking about, Ashley? I've never noticed this. And then I started realizing, I'm like, oh, fucking Kill Bill. Where
Yeah,
there's like a
every
whole
fucking
scene where
movie, yeah.
wiggle your little foot or your little toe,
They
and I'm
mentioned
just like,
about feet.
oh fuck!
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I have a thing. Feet are just I can't do it. I don't.
Oh,
I
they're
wear
gross.
shoes. I don't wear sandals. Like don't fucking do it. So me and Tarantino, like I don't give a shit how famous he is. I'd be like, dude, fucking don't fucking touch me. Don't go over there. No.
I mean, I let him touch me, but I wouldn't threaten him like that.
Have you ever seen Mr. Rogers? Of course, everybody's seen Mr.
I finally
the
saw
show
it.
or the movie.
The show.
Not his
Oh,
feet.
okay.
There's that one where he goes. The
movie's pretty good.
There's like a carousel or there's like a merry-go-round.
Yeah,
It's a train. The
Yeah.
train into the land of make believe.
I know, but like you know how they have different stations, right? Different puppets, right? You got
Yeah.
Daniel's Tiger and
Yeah.
Clock and
Lady Lane,
like Lady Lane.
who scared the shit out of me.
Doesn't Lady Lane look like a fucking drugged out Quentin Tarantino?
The way I can't even do it. They had like a raspy voice that I have no
Yeah,
ability.
You're right, Lady
What's
Lane.
the king's name?
King's Castle.
King
or
Friday.
King Friday,
Yeah.
and then there's
You know-
the little
Prince
like
Tuesday.
When I
Who was Stone making that shit up? King Friday.
when I was watching the movie, the
Tom
story
Hanks,
of that I watched it recently, and I forgot because they discussed like some of the topics are pretty dark. You talk,
yeah.
for kids, just to help kids. Like the guy's a saint for doing what he did. That's hard to. He's trying to reach, like kids to understand like certain problems they can't understand. He tries to convey it to speak, to make a kid to understand the situation, and how important that is. Like that's because
fundamentals.
traumatic shit like that, and he's trying to help you and guide you.
Yeah,
that's. I mean, it was really. I got a little emotional watching it. Like, damn, man, like. I remember
that's
watching
Hollywood.
some of this, but it just
that's
brought back so many
Well,
memories.
that's
Is
one of
that
the
the Tom
things-
Hanks and like
one?
it made me realize too.
he's
Oh,
talking
I haven't
about
seen
Yeah,
that one
like
yet.
if Mr. Rogers himself, like how the guy
Apparently-
had a beautiful soul. Like
Yeah,
he was
he did.
like,
And that's one of those
such
things-
a nice human being.
Yeah, I agree. And one that you always hear about like there's a quote, and it's one of these things that encompass. It's cheesy because it's in a movie, but it's like man, this really encompasses like, the breadth of humanity. It's like, there's one thing that people love more than a hero, and it's to see a hero fall. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And from Spider-Man.
Right, episode 3.
The original Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
The original with Tobey Maguire and
no, just saying episode 3 in Star Wars was the best, right?
Okay, we're not going there. But what I'm saying is, like Mr. Rogers is one of those people that like
dick measurement guns.
Had it ever come out that like he had some kind of like weird like child porn fetish or some like there was never any dirt on him. He was just a genuinely good human being.
Yeah.
And it was I'm really glad that like nothing ever like that he actually
tarnish
was
his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if the guy's persistent
stain.
to go to like, didn't he go to Congress and get some?
Yeah.
shit? So I mean, he was very persistent. I think his heart was. I mean, I don't know the guy, but I think he had great intentions.
Yeah.
I do
he
too.
was
And
determined to help children.
Knowing that he was probably faced like, the guy, okay, you're in your 40s and you're doing like you're around kids. Like, what the fuck? I'm sure he got that.
And that's one of the things, I mean, nowadays, like, that would be super scrutinized.
Yeah.
And, the great part about it is that, no matter what you can do, nobody's ever dug up any dirt on him because, I mean, honestly, I think it doesn't exist. So, I mean, that's one of those things, like, it just renews your faith in humanity a little bit. That you're like, okay, there's a little bit of good left in this world. There's somebody like Fred Rogers that can come along and be that kind of person and be that light in the world. Now we need another one. We really need one now. You know what I mean?
Big time. Yep.
So I hate to bring it down.
No, that's
J.
true.
Trump.
I mean, it's
I vote.
No, what?
I'm trying to wake you up, Chris.
No, I'm
So
sorry.
wonderful, man.
I just kind of got emotional. I'm just sitting over here in my own corner.
I mean,
just
I haven't watched
really
that movie,
feeling
but
it.
It's
on my
a beautiful
list.
movie.
I guess.
It's a good
Well,
story.
I'll just be honest with you. The conversation
It's a really
steered
good
into
story.
something really beautiful, and I'm just kind of like, I don't. I mean,
We do that every once in a while.
Do I
We're 3
know
beers
class?
in,
Yeah, do we know class that, or we just let it roll?
I have to know class. That's why I brought up the
Yeah.
that guy.
We don't let it roll like that for the entire episode.
Yeah, you gotta-
I don't fucking roll on Sunday. No, but I didn't buy it a
fucking
beer.
shop.
I didn't fucking rent it shoes.
I can see you do not want to be healthier.
I'm drinking my coffee.
I'm saying.
Calmer
No.
than you are, dude.
I'm sorry. It's one
We're
of my
supposed
favorite.
to
It's
shit
one of my
ourselves.
favorite
You wanna get
fucking
I get a
movies.
toenail.
I'm sorry.
With nail polish.
I give you work for 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Fucking amateurs.
Watch where your mic is when you're talking.
Oh,
Talk
I'm
into
sorry.
the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I apologize.
Well, I just
different.
want to make sure that everybody's.
Oh, no.
Good levels. Good levels.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
It's
Good
like
level.
it's a weird thing to be.
Yeah.
I guess put it this
takes
way,
some getting
it's
used to.
my teacher thing because I move so much when I'm
Yeah.
talking that I just want to.
So next time Chris is here, we get him a headset.
Yeah, you might want to because that really is the way that I. No, I'm being honest with you.
flowing,
Like
yeah.
I don't like a lot of teachers are like, I'm just gonna get my stool and I'm gonna sit here and not do a fucking thing. No, like I got to get out there. I mean, I'm running. I'm going up and down the aisles. I mean, I look like a Baptist preacher. I mean, it's ridiculous. The
That sounds
kids love it, and I do.
That's
I start
Pat.
doing the sweat thing. I got my handkerchief. Like
that's
you know,
passion.
You know
man.
what's awesome?
That's
go
passion,
ahead.
man.
You know what?
I appreciate that.
When I was reading your Facebook comments, I'm like, wow. When you posted that thing about what the students sent to you, and then you had your own fucking teachers responding.
Yeah,
And,
Mr.
you have
Nesser.
a close network, dude. That's freaking
Miss
awesome.
Laughlin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you
That's
still talk
cool.
to
I
Bill?
didn't know that.
Ashton, or?
Yeah, I still talk to Bill. He's just not on Facebook,
Yeah.
but I talk to him all the time. I mean, actually, I talked to him
That's
like
cool.
a couple months ago, but
Your
That's,
teachers.
that's crazy.
yeah.
and you are a teacher now. It's
Yeah.
I know, and
close
you know,
network.
they give advice. I appreciate it, man.
Badass.
And that
Yeah.
the cycle will continue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm sure that happened
absolutely.
with teachers with them, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that you've talked to them and been like, "Hey, you inspired me
Oh,
to be here."
without a
Things
doubt,
like that.
man.
amazing.
I mean, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I mean, the politics thing was fun and ran campaigns, but then I mean,
Ran a
teaching,
negative campaign.
right? No, teaching. Oh, actually, you should have seen some of the
Fucking
stuff
with
we
you.
did. No, I'll be honest with you. Some of the stuff
shady
we've done,
shit
but
inside dirt. I'll hear this later.
no, really. When we worked for that, or I don't know if he was a billionaire necessarily, but he was very, very rich,
Envelope
and
job, right?
that was me and Ashley. We did our ads were interesting, but anyways, no, I mean, but being a
Sounds like
teacher,
a Netflix story.
being a teacher was really it has been man, it's been singularly one of the greatest things I've done in my life.
I mean, if you really think about it, there's always at least one teacher that makes a huge impact on your life.
Yeah.
Just in general. I mean, I know that there's teachers that I've had in high school and stuff that I still remember I don't talk to, but I mean, I remember them, and like they had a huge impact on like, you know, on my life, and I still remember them. I'm sure you've had the same thing, maybe not in high school, but I'm not saying that.
No. Well, you know, Laughlin did my wedding photos.
Really? I mean, no, Miss Laughlin, like, and that, by the way, probably one of the most like just serendipitous, surreal events was went to Rice University for one of these like AP conference things we had. There's Miss Laughlin. That's crazy. You know, like my teacher is there, and we're both like we're at an event together, and I just like
now your peers.
Yeah, like it was just like it was because
was
I'm
it
like
weird for you or weird for her?
She had no like, you know, it was almost like nothing. She'd actually never. I put it this way: there was no pupil thing about it. She was just like, "Hey, how are things going over there? Are y'all like, you know, I know exactly. You know, we were two old, you know, work comrades. We've been in the trenches together, and but I mean, for me though, it was like there was like that hero worship that I could never. I couldn't shake it. I'm like, I'm standing in the shadow of somebody who is, you know, JVHS to me, like that. She is Miss JV. I mean, that was like we loved her class. You got to go hide out in her class, like she, you know, she was that teacher. She was photography. She was our photography teacher.
Okay.
And I mean, you know, but all the artistic stuff you got to do, and I was never artistic, but I loved photography. It was like the one thing that I got to do, and we had great conversations, and we used to always go to like heavy.com. Y'all remember old heavy.com? We used to be able to go to that computer. Y'all remember heavy.com? All the videos and shit.
Heavy.
It's like E-Bombs World.
No, we used to be able to run. I mean, I'm sorry, Miss Laughlin, but we used to be Newground. Oh my God, yes.
Cris Hernandez is why they have firewall blocks on public schools.
So we used to have it. And by the way, I mean, she would just be sitting back there and helping people develop film. And we are, like, watching a Chihuahua, I don't know, shoot guns and you know, do things with ladies, and it was weird, but you know.
You need 10 minutes in the dark room?
Trailed off there, Chris.
Well, when I say that, I mean it was early. What do they call that? Like where it's computer like drawn graphics, but they made it animated. If you know what I'm talking about,
It
was super early stuff
with
like that.
With the arrow, bow and arrow guy.
Oh yeah, or the End of the World. You remember the End of the World video?
Man, no, I did not.
I mean, this was awesome. It's like the early animation, and like now that's
it's like the fucking Apple. There's a camera there. There's a camera there.
Exactly. Yes. Fucking Mark M.
So yes.
Shout out to Mark M.
Thank you to the teachers. Thank you to teachers. And you know,
I mean, I had a couple of great teachers in high school. My co-op teacher, senior year, shout out Mr. Kirk, was great. Like we used to have to do like these current event stories, and we would literally go into the computer lab and pull up the chronicle.com and just cut and paste the entire article into a Word document and turn it in. And then we would just, like the last day of school, we had chicken fights in his classroom, and he was carrying somebody. He was a chicken fight base.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So and like the only thing I could say is like he did every once in a while. He had to flex every once in a while. So one of our classmates one day was like came in and brought donuts and kolaches, and he obviously left campus to bring donuts and kolaches at 9 a.m. It was like second or third class of the day. And he was late. Yeah. And Mr. Kirk was like, man, I got to write you up for this. Like, you can't stroll in here a half hour late for class bringing donuts and kolaches. I know you were late.
I know what he said.
And then he's sitting there eating a donut, and he's like, man, I got to send you to detention for this.
That's awesome.
I mean, it tastes so good, but you're gone. But you're gone.
I'm not enjoying this right now.
But you know, like we were like, what the fuck? And then like at the end of the after everything was done, and we were like, you know, we all sat there and talked about it, and we were like, you know what? He lets us get away with so much shit. Yeah. Like every once in a while, you got to have a sacrificial lamb.
It's true. I mean, somebody's got to look like, or there has to be something has to look disciplined like.
Yeah.
And someone's got to go down. That's for sure. But no, I like this chicken fight thing because, you know, one of the things that when I got there, I started realizing, oh my God, it's like, you know, it did get very safe spacey, as it were.
Yeah.
And I finally broke the mold. Actually, it was this year because I went up to one of my one of the higher ups, and I was just like, I'm taking my kids outside. I don't care what you say. Like, we're doing it. We're going to do class outside.
Yeah, why
Man,
not? Why can't you do class outside?
You would have thought that I like reinvented the freaking wheel, because as I am walking my kids outside, we had to, because the only place you really do is by the lunchroom, and I'm walking out with my kids. The principals are watching us, everybody in the lunchroom is watching us, and then we go out there, and then I have them sit out around me, and we were doing like a reading, and I was explaining things, and I'm like, they didn't know what to make of it. They didn't think anybody could go outside. They didn't think you could have class outside.
Yeah, it's not jail.
And
I
know.
like teachers like that.
And I'm just like,
when I was in
this is
junior
what
high,
you do, guys. This is you. I mean, we gotta. We have to be like, we're
existing. Society, fucking Dan DeVito Renaissance man shit going on.
You really know how to
Edward James Olmos and Stand By Me.
And by the way, like I got some of the best work I got out of my kids, because they just like they were like, because the thing about it is, you got to wake people up and you got to get them out of their like they're sleeping in the chairs. Get up and let's go somewhere.
What's funny is that Truett Junior High, there's an outdoor classroom. There's a huge,
that's awesome,
70-year-old oak tree, and it's been in front of the school for forever. And it's Cy-Fair ISD. It's right over off of Attic Satsuma in Westside New York. Yeah. And hell, I grew up in Cy-Fair ISD. I graduated from Langham Creek High School. I live less than a mile from there now.
Know.
But like when we were me and my wife both went to Truett. But like right out in front of the school, there are benches around the front of this
that is awesome
tree.
That is so awesome.
They do outdoor classes. I mean, I would hope that they still walk kids out there. We did them when I was there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a
I mean, if I was at Langham, it was like if you went outside, it was for a fire drill, and usually there was people fighting in the retention pond in the front of it.
If we're there, I mean, if I'm there long enough, one of the things that the old guy that I ran my old gentleman with the campaign, Mr. Kelly, but anyways, he's a landscaping place, but Charlie Kelly. But the one thing that I would love to create a space there, because I mean that is one of the things that I just don't think we do enough of in school, and I don't care what it is, high school, whatever. The kids got to go outside. They have to feel and move and to talk somewhere and to be, because the thing about it is, if you're in a classroom and you're just sitting there and you're listening to someone talk at you, you never feel the need to be part of something. And that's when you take someone outside like that and you see someone move and you realize that to express yourself is to have your body involved in it, right? It's like the acting thing. It's all parts of you, moving and being part of that dialogue. And that's that thing that moves those kids to really engage in things. And I'll tell you, I loved it. And I wish I can't wait to do more of it next year. I'm going to schedule more of it, but it's a big thing. That's going to
be awesome.
Well, I was going to say,
really make an impact on
man, Chris, like, where were you when I was in high school? Oh yeah, I forgot. We were both in fucking high school.
We're sitting right next to each other, suffering.
Y'all were both outside, but y'all had snuck out of school.
I can tell you one thing. I can tell you one thing is that when I was a senior in high school, maybe it was because I was on level classes. I was in no AP classes, right? But none of my teachers.
Way to bring it down.
Were none of my teachers were asking, like, so what are you going to do after high school? Or genuinely concerned. The only one that did that was my fucking auto tech teacher, Mr. Skinner. And he
Mr.
put
Skinner,
every senior that was in that class, he's like, hey, come to my office and we're going to have a one-on-one meeting.
I like that.
And he literally had a sit down with us and like, what is your goal? Because life is a dog-eat-dog world, it's a shit world. You need to have a plan.
I dig that because you really I've heard about Mr.
I remember you told me that.
I know enough about and I've never took Mr. Skinner, but I've heard all good things about this man. So this really goes along with it.
But
I see his automotive class really stuck with you.
I was there for my free
the fuck is wrong with this thing? I can't fucking start.
Somebody help me turn this carburetor.
It was a free class I needed.
Oh my god, I got a flat. Fucking
that's
AAA.
Cool that he did that. He's genuinely concerned.
Yeah,
like he's being straight up and honest. Like this is what it is. You need to have a plan, and unless the world's gonna it's gonna come back at you if you don't. Sure, yeah. It's fucking scary, but it's somebody needs to tell them that.
No, it's true. And then I will give you. I would say, oh God, God forgive me, and I get burnt for this, but this is nobody knows who. Anyways, but no, I think the truest thing that a lot of people really have to get a sense of is that not everyone succeeds.
That's true. No, there are a lot of failures.
There's just the truth.
You're right.
Not everyone succeeds. Not everyone succeeds. And I really think education really could benefit from us stop putting this whole pressure on them that they all have to be at this. They're not all going to be at that benchmark.
Not everybody's, and that's that. You're right.
And that's
Speaking
okay
as somebody
too,
who's like
to know that,
I mean, there's a lot of emphasis, especially in schools, about going to college, and you're never going to be anything if you don't go to college. And,
that's not for everybody.
Like that.
And who's working right now? Most of them that
are trades.
Yeah.
And that's where and you know what? There's a lot of money in trades.
Yeah.
You know, you hear there's
Hunters,
there's a lot of money in going to college and
sure.
you know, you being in debt. That's fine. Like you want to go and like be in, you know,
banking
or whatever that is.
Those are called farmers.
I mean? That's fine if that's what you want to be and that's what you want to do. I was never the like sit behind a desk kind of guy, and I never really had a clear direction. I graduated high school without knowing what I was going to do. I never took auto tech in high school. I wish I could have, but I think my dad saw something, and he, you know, years later he apologized for, but you know, he would never let me take auto tech because he was like, I don't want you to be a mechanic. I don't want you to have to work that hard. Yeah. And you know, years later I told him, you know, like you instilled in me a certain work ethic that, you know, doing something with your hands and having an honest day's work is something good. And much to his chagrin, for the first, you know, years that I was doing it, I became an auto mechanic anyway.
Yeah.
And now, you know, I've turned it into a really, really good career.
Absolutely.
And you know that's something that can, you know, not be emphasized enough with people,
right.
And
well,
especially kids, is knowing that like there's a future out there for anything that you're passionate about.
Absolutely.
You just need to be passionate enough about it to dump your entire self into.
Here's what I think. The other big mistake is that we think that somehow, you know, something that you're a plumber or you're an electrician somehow precludes you from being an intellectual. It doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
You can be someone who reads. You can be someone who knows about statistics. I mean, I really, because I really think this is. You can be someone who is very read literature. You read poems. You might write poetry.
A lot of these guys in a trade.
And really, it sticks. It really is so raw for me because I see so many kids that I'm just like, you know, look, when I'm teaching you this subject, it's not that it's just, you know what, I don't want to learn, I don't need that. Actually, no, it's enrichment. That's just period. This isn't about trying to get you anywhere. It's not about getting a job. It's not about, it's enrichment. It is an end in itself to learn. Period. And so you can be, you know, and you can be anything and still be a very learned person. Yeah. And where the hell did we get? Where did society get to a point where you demarcate the fact that you got to be someone who only learns, or you're someone who's, you know, I'm working.
Exactly.
Well,
trades.
Well, it got to this whole thing of we went from a society that engages and builds up learned people and quote unquote smart people to where we really, you know, think of that as like you're selling out. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's you're not, why are you going to do the homework? Oh, that's selling out or whatever. You know what I mean? Where you're emphasizing the dumb. You're making the bad work ethic and the stupidity be easy and be acceptable. Whereas if, you know, in a society where you can flip that on the other way and be like, and you know, years ago when it was, you know, being dumb and not knowing things was looked down upon. Yep. You know what I mean? That's one of those things like, if we could, I hate to say bring that back because I don't want to look down on anybody, but it needs to be flipped around. We need to, you know, I hate to, you know, coin a phrase or not coin a phrase, but pull a phrase that's, you know, mass marketed, but like we need to like quit making stupid people famous. You know what I mean? Like that's the biggest problem with our society today. That like it, just TikTok in general across the board.
Hearing some kids, like some of my friends are their kids saying, "I want to be a YouTube star." I'm like, "Oh my god!"
My daughter says that. She's 10 years old.
You know, like a lot of kids.
And you get that. And that's the thing. You get that from the fact that things have become completely instrumental, which means that it's just about what I can get something out, what I can get out of something, and it's not. Things aren't ends in themselves, right?
Exactly.
Like this podcast.
And actually, hey, you know what? And the thing is, though,
in it for the listeners only.
We're just in it for the beer.
We're in it for the
Let's
screen.
wait for the beer. Thank you, thank you,
And the
Eureka
beer.
Heights. I just want you to know, Eureka Heights, your stickers are everywhere because they really, really.
Oh, they know.
I hope they know. The beer, there is only Eureka Heights beer in this fridge. There is no other beer but your beer. So, anyways, but no, it
They
is.
know that's a lie also.
But it is. I mean, it really in the instrumentalness of things is. I mean, it's life. It sucks life. It really does because things are pure. There are things that are instrumental. There's no. It's not where nobody's saying that that's not the truth. But things have innate value. And if you don't recognize that, you really lose a lot of what the world has. I mean, that's the soul of the world is innateness, goodness, beauty, truth.
We were not supposed to be this deep on this podcast.
I'm sorry. Well, you brought you. Well, you brought.
This is not even the topic for tonight.
I'm sorry, you brought me.
But that
I'm
is
sorry.
awesome.
Yeah.
That
I'm
is-
sorry.
I love it, and that's great. I hate to shift gears on
No,
you, but
I'm
we got to
sorry.
stay on track for
Yes, do so.
for the topic.
Honestly, to sum it up though, Chris, I admire your passion. I'm very passionate about my things, and to see and hear what you do for your kids to inspire, like that's my goal. I want to inspire too. I love you for that, man. I love when people are passionate about what they love. Anything, even if I don't like it, I recognize the passion. I admire that so much.
Oh no, and the one last thing about depth, I would say this. I think is really beautiful. Passion really is to suffer. That's really what it means. Is to suffer.
To suffer?
Yeah.
To suffer.
You got
And if
that-
you really know
goddamn right on
when you
that,
know you
man.
have passion, that's it. You suffer for what you love.
Yeah.
That's true.
You're fucking right though, man.
The ticket is to find your. But you don't have to say, "Thank God it's Friday." Oh Lord, it's Monday.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, thank God
Exactly.
Mr. Skinner didn't make a noise like that when you told him what you were going to do with your
That's
life.
fucking settling, man.
You know who makes
That's
the
what
best
that is.
noises is Taylor Peak.
Yes.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
T-Pain!
I was going to spit my fucking beer because of that.
Can
Hold on.
you auto-tune when I say T-Pain?
Can we
That's a lot.
can we roll that one more time?
One more time for Taylor Peak.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Squirrely
I warned him that I was putting that on the soundboard.
I should fucking.
I hope he ripped one before that.
can't.
Did he rip one before he made that take?
No,
yeah,
that was on our
we-
Tiger King episode.
Yeah, we-
I know, and he
He
told me I
microdosed on
was so
shrooms.
jealous. Actually, I was like, they took you
Yeah.
in for the Tiger King.
Yeah.
I was like,
I know you- because I
wanna
I
let
see
you
you in the
know, like, I
memes.
could not stop. It was everything to me.
Yeah,
Dude,
I
but
can
he's-
see it. I can see it through your memes.
No,
he pitched it at us.
Oh,
So-
and he and I were going back and forth. Like me and Taylor had a love affair with this shit. Like if you would have saw
I barely heard it, but that was great. Oh, man.
we have all these great sound drops. You haven't.
It's a fuck stick, huh?
what the fuck is that from?
Bad Santa.
Bad Santa? Like the
Bernie,
first one?
Bernie Mac said it.
Oh, then
when
that's
he's, when he's
that's
talking
it.
to John Ritter. It's just one of the scenes that he says that.
Best sound drop ever. Jake's suggestion. I will give him credit.
Okay.
That was like the first one, man.
You know that's actually what they should play for Maury when you get your results.
You are the father.
And then when
Oh, damn it. I thought that was it.
No, I switched them.
That's actually what
That's
they
why
should
I'm in
play.
charge of the soundboard.
and then just do like that old school like zoom in where they like bounce the camera.
The fucking face.
That's terrible,
man.
right? And then like have them make that like kind of like stupid sad face.
Yeah.
It is your child, you jackass.
and it's like whenever it's not their child,
Yeah, they won the showcase. Yes, the models are coming out.
The models
Bob
are coming
Barker
out.
is fucking like spaying and neutering them on the stage. Boring.
boy, bro, he's like, you won, baby, you won.
Fucking
Oh man.
It all goes back to.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you, Taylor. I just want you to know, T-Pain, I
my
love you for
God.
that. I love you, T.
It was so good. As soon as he said it, I was like, "Oh, nobody else is talking." That's being on the soundboard right now.
I love
So, on to tonight's topic. We are going to talk about, because the big thing in the news that is not getting enough play is the fact that the Pentagon and our Department of Defense and our entire government as a whole has come out and said that the videos released by Tom DeLonge's To the Stars Academy in their unidentified show are authentic UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. That is a huge deal. Nobody's acknowledging the fact that our government just acknowledged that there are UFOs. What UAPs, UFOs, whatever you want to call them.
That's a new term.
Like, can I be honest, COVID or not, or I was going to say just COVID or not, even if they released it, I think people still wouldn't give a shit. Like
I give a shit.
Perfect
I know,
perfect
but
time
I
to
still,
busy
people, right?
Exactly.
But when Snowden thing happened, that was a huge deal. He was saying it was affecting all of us, and people seem like they didn't give a shit.
But the Kardashians were on.
No, we had the Patriot Act since the fucking early 2000s.
Yeah,
it's nothing new to us, right?
Yeah, but
he also said that there was nothing like extraterrestrial or UFO related that he.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I want to be clear.
But I was just saying because it affected all of us, and like it just people generally have more concern. They can give a flying fuck.
So if you're saying that we're talking about only acknowledging the videos that they released, or the ones that they're saying the whole back catalog of somebody who has a bunch of.
There are 3 specific videos. Man, I forget the date.
I've seen them. No, I'm just making sure
early 2000s.
They're not saying that they're qualifying a bunch of videos. Of
No,
people, just only the ones they
these
released.
Are specific videos from fighter pilots.
That's why I wanted to be sure, because those are the ones that I know the Pentagon themselves released.
The Pentagon has they released them because the Freedom of Information Act made them release them, but they never didn't acknowledge what they were. They just released them.
Yeah, well,
it took this To the Stars Academy and Luis Elizondo and Tom DeLonge and their To the Stars Academy, that whole deal to kind of pressure them.
Because I would say the government would be very careful about it. They would be like, only these 3. We're not talking about these other 800 that you have.
They released these, and then
that's what I said. I could imagine that they're very clear about which ones they acknowledge.
They did acknowledge that these are unidentified
government would be very narrow,
phenomenon, and they are not our technology. They don't know what they are, and no government has claimed them. Right. So this is a big deal. Go ahead.
No, didn't what's his name? Luis? Didn't he get in trouble? Didn't he get in trouble for something falsifying?
I don't think so.
Or I could have sworn.
Not that I heard.
Oh, I could have sworn. I don't know. I could be wrong. I thought something about his background was he claimed, and it was sketchy, or I don't know. People looked into it, and it wasn't what he said. He claimed to have. I don't know. Something in security or
I didn't hear any of that.
I could be wrong. I thought I heard his name and such. That subject about his past or something.
I don't know.
I could be wrong. I could look it up. I'm just
we're kill time while Chris went outside to go pee.
So
just in case y'all didn't know, we are approaching because Chris was asking about it before the show, where we are on our standings as a podcast. We are approaching 10,000 streams as a podcast. Yeah, 10,000 streams. So that's a pretty significant number considering we only have. This will be 64 episodes. So I think that's a pretty significant number. 10,000 streams. That's pretty good.
That's really good. I like it. That is live.
Chris Jordan tell you this?
No, that's straight off of our hosting site. So that pulls from every third party site. I think except for the ones. I think except for the ones we may be past 10,000 already because some of the ones that Chris that come through our HD Universal Network. Some of those, I don't know that they populate towards our streams on our hosting website.
We got some figures, huh?
Yeah, so we're approaching 10,000 streams right now.
Wow.
So we're the pretty big milestone when we hit that 10,000th stream. That will.
Do you have is there? I mean, this is podcast business, I guess, but do you have a sense of where 5,000 is good and 10,000 is good?
I never even thought about that.
I haven't either. Honestly, we don't really compete or compare ourselves. Yeah. I think it's more of a thing between ourselves. We kind of look at it and we're like, how many people are listening to each episode? Because if it's more than 3, that means we're reaching an audience.
So you
know
tell
what I
me.
mean?
That number then reflects a stream of one episode.
Of one episode.
Wow.
So that's
impressive, gentlemen. I hope your listeners understand. That's amazing, which means that they should be sharing it more.
Exactly.
Yes.
I want to see 20,000 by the next time I come back, which as many times as I have screwed up
so
and
you
not
don't want to come back for a while.
as many times as I've not,
it's just a couple.
I've welched on them. Then when I come back, yes,
I'm good with that. So
I'm proud of you guys. Cheers.
And this is every stream, so it doesn't matter what episode or when they stream it. And every stream, one person can stream, 10,000 times one episode, whatever. It's still the same.
You have commentary? Do you see some commentary?
We see some. Ray Valdez loves to comment on stuff when we talk about the Cowboys and shit. He loves to fucking smear that Dallas cock all over the place.
Whatever. We don't. Dallas Cowboys suck ass.
The commentary is really just to show that we don't know what the fuck we're talking about, like the Skinwalker Ranch.
There's a lot of stuff about that.
And then
really? On the video? Are you talking about on the video?
No,
Skinwalker Ranch.
Email. Yeah.
You got.
Episode.
You got
and then
emails?
there's another video or something that I forgot what it was.
Wait,
but
they sent emails about that?
We've gotten some emails and some commentary about some stuff where people have called us out for not knowing what the fuck we're talking about. But that's fine because we've never admitted to being experts on anything.
This is a no-class podcast.
Yeah, we are totally no-class.
Beer everywhere.
I don't know if anybody knows me, but I talk out of my ass a lot.
I was going to say it's a fucking podcast. What the fuck were they tuning into a lecture?
You guys don't know that Rob's bent over right now. And he's doing the Ace Ventura fucking number.
I think that's in our disclaimer, too. The views...
Only they can see my hand motion.
Hey, but our disclaimer straight up says in the very beginning.
Yeah, the views and opinions of Gentlemen No Class are strictly for comedic purposes only. Although I did spend a solid 25 minutes explaining quantum mechanics last episode, and that was pretty spot on.
Oh, there you go.
You're proud of that.
I had a couple of people listen to it, and they were like, "You know what? You were off on a little bit, but I mean, for a podcast,
that's good." I was going to say, "Here's Professor Schneider or something coming on." What have you done?
For somebody who has never studied quantum mechanics, I was pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close.
I was pretty close.
I had to snooze my alarm a little bit, but it was good.
Paul was deeply, deeply engrossed in that conversation.
Yeah.
Paul, you're so sweet. We need to get you a little French maid outfit.
Oh, baby.
Paul with the cleanup.
Telling you, Paul's got a nice ass. Y'all need to watch out, man.
He does have a nice ass.
Going back to getting back to the topic for this evening.
Hey, are you cool cats and kittens?
Going back to the topic for the evening.
Hear me.
Put some more beers on the table. The Pentagon has acknowledged these things. So we decided that we would go back to the beginning and talk about one of the most well-documented and most scrutinized alien abduction stories that have ever hit the popular media.
Ruined my life.
And we'll talk about back in 1976. 76? Paul, is that right?
78, I think, maybe.
78? We'll talk about the alien abduction of Travis Walton and the ensuing movie that he...
75.
75, I was close. Based on his experience in the book that he wrote, A Fire in the Sky. So I had never seen the movie. We talked about it, and I wanted to make sure that I saw the movie first, and then I watched a couple of interviews with Travis Walton himself to kind of see what the differences where the movie differed from his actual experience, to kind of get some of the things that were different. And then we'll kind of get into this new Netflix series that was just released this week. I don't know if you've seen it, called Hangar One.
No.
And it's about the I'm going to totally butcher the name of it, MUFON, which is like the Mutual Universalogist Network or whatever.
Yeah, MUFON. Acronym for,
Anyway, so it's a new series that was just released on Netflix this week. I just found out about it today. I've watched about 2 episodes. It's pretty interesting so far. They're talking about some conspiracy stuff with like Denver International Airport and just NORAD and a couple other things. But so let's start with Travis Walton. We're at the beginning. Travis Walton, not Dozier. So
Yes.
talk about Travis Walton and A Fire in the Sky. So we're talking about in Arizona, right?
Snowflake, Arizona.
Snowflake, Arizona, 1975. Travis Walton is running a logging crew. The movie
He's not running it. He's part of it.
He's part of it. They cut it down to 5 guys for the movie, but apparently in the interviews he says it was closer to 7 guys.
7.5, whatever.
Boy, Snowflake, Arizona.
Yeah, talk about an oxymoron.
I was just kind of like, that too, right? Yeah,
Well,
like
it's
snowflake in hell. You know,
So
it's north of Arizona.
snowflakes.
It does get cold up there.
It does get quite cold. It is mountainous in the northern part of Arizona.
fair enough.
So that's
Very
where
beautiful.
it is. So
you see, people, they get things right. Geography, meteorology, dates. Don't be assholes.
It took us a few times when we got the dates, right?
So we don't make notes. So basically, the general gist of the story is that Travis Walton is on a logging crew, and they're working to try. They're clearing out this part of the forest on this mountain. And they're leaving one night. The movie makes it seem like they're kind of drowsy and sleepy from working all day, but in an interview later, he said that the adrenaline of working all day, as soon as you get in the truck, you start coming down off of that eventually, but the adrenaline of the day keeps everybody up and alert for quite a while into the drive, especially on the dark roads when there's not a lot of light around. It's just natural light. So
you don't fall asleep on a 12-hour shift.
No.
I mean, I'm sure we all work.
Fuck.
God, that's impressive. I would have passed the fuck out.
16-hour days.
We'd all died if I was driving.
So they're coming off this mountain and they see this light just above the treetops, and they think it's a fire. So as they're driving down this logging road off the mountain, they notice that the light's moving, but it doesn't look like a fire. So they finally stop and see an object. They can't really describe what it is. Some of them described it as a flying saucer. Some have described it as not being a flying. They don't know what it was. That with a ball of fire. In the movie, they depict it as just a light. They don't really describe. They don't really show anything significant. But Travis gets out of the truck. So Travis gets out of the truck and goes towards this. And in his recollection, there's a beam of light that centers upon him and knocks him to the ground. And it's a very quick, he says it's like a kick to the chest.
Right.
Just a boom.
It wasn't like the movie.
And not like the movie where it was kind of drawn out. Like it freezes in. It was just like a beam of light that hit him and knocked him to the ground. Yeah. So they're trying to get Travis back in the truck, but when this thing knocks him to the ground, he's not responsive to the guys in the truck, and they're calling for him, and obviously there's a fucking UFO or UAP, whatever. Something's happening. They don't know what it is, so they haul ass out of there. They think he's dead.
You're on your own, bud. Every man for themselves.
It would be a Travis that would do something stupid like that, right? Like the Travis I know,
That's fucked up.
probably would do something like that.
So
we love you,
the guys get down the logging road, back down, and they get further down the logging road, and they're talking, "Holy shit, what the fuck was that? What is this? And what are we going?" And his best buddy Mike is the driver of the truck, and he decides, you know what, I'm going to go back and look for my buddy Travis. And so he turns around. Travis is dating his sister at the time, so he spins around and he goes and looks for Travis, and goes and finds this clearing where they were at. And he gets out and looks for him. The lights are gone. Travis is gone. There's no trace of him anywhere. Mind you, it's dark on a logging road in the middle of the night.
Yeah, no street lights.
No street lights.
Now, through your research, this person, does he actually say this, like, in real life? That he
this
went
is
back?
his actual account.
Oh, no, that really, this is amazing.
Yeah,
okay.
So his actual account was, he went back, and apparently Mike stopped at a couple of different places because he couldn't really remember exactly where it was, because this is a long logging road, a couple miles. You're talking about driving through densely wooded areas on a mountain. No, markers or anything like that. You don't really know where you are. You're just driving. So he stopped at a couple of different places.
By the way, going back, fuck it,
and not seeing anything, and looking for Travis, and into the brush and past the tree lines, and then turning around and leaving, knowing that his best friend, he's just left his best friend on the mountain, thinking, Travis is fucking around or whatever. We don't know what we saw. Like, we'll go back and find him in the morning or something. when he comes, the last time he stops and checks, he realizes he's been out there for, an hour, 2 hours, looking at different clearings, and he has to come off the mountain. So they end up making it back into town, and they all kind of gather up and say, this is crazy. Like, what just happened? So, they have to call the police and report their friend missing. So they report Travis missing, and the police are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you talking about aliens? Come on. I mean, it's 1975. Nobody's going to believe you that it's aliens. At this point, the government has run a basic, in the history of the United States, the government has run a basic smear campaign against UFOs and aliens and things like that. And basically discounted all this as frivolous nonsense. Everybody thinks that it's garbage. You don't talk about that. That's impossible. Even though it's less impossible than some of the things that we take for granted every day. But at the time, and hell, even now, if somebody says, "Oh, I had an alien encounter," they look at you with general disgust and probably commit you somewhere. But the general idea is, they call the police and tell them, hey, like, our buddy Travis is missing. We've lived in this town all of our lives. They talk to the local sheriff who they trust, and they're like, Travis is missing. Like, we left him on the mountain, but something attacked us. Something happened. And, like, he got out of the car. We went back to look for him. He's not there. We don't know where he is. He's a missing person at this point. So the first thing the police obviously suspect is that something happened. Something happened, and there was an altercation. This guy got killed. They dumped him on the mountain. They're trying to cover the story up. They go up the mountain multiple times over the next 2 or 3 days with search parties of over 100 people. Nobody finds anything. They can't even find the clearing where Travis was. They can't even definitively find the clearing where Travis was taken from, or went missing from. Let's put it that. So, and I'm basing this all on the movie, by the way. This is Travis Walton's actual account of the story differs significantly from this, or not significantly, but it differs enough to matter. So during this whole time, people in the town are thinking, these guys killed Travis. Why don't you just tell us what happened? They're sticking by their story no matter what. Nothing has swayed them off of this. So they keep going along the same lines. Travis is missing. 5 days. 5 days Travis is missing. On the fifth day, on the fourth day, actually, they take a lie detector test. The 6 guys in the group take a lie detector test. One of them comes back kind of inconclusive because one of the guys had a kind of a criminal record, and he was afraid that like all the other guys would roll on him and tell him, hey, they would just, if the pressure got high enough, they would just be like, hey, Dallas fucked it. Dallas killed him. You know what I mean? Yeah. If it would get the police off their backs. Yeah. But they all took a lie detector test. Dallas's was inconclusive at the time, so they couldn't say. That means that all of them were inconclusive. They wouldn't say anything other than that. So on the fifth day, Mike gets a phone call and a collect call, and it's Travis. So Travis doesn't know where he's at. He tries to describe his surroundings. They find him. I don't know if an actual account he was naked at the gas station or not.
Oh, he was.
The movie. Actually, I think he was.
I hope he was.
Go on.
I didn't read the actual account from Travis. I don't remember what it said in that part of the interview.
Story.
I saw this porno. Yeah. I know how this porno starts.
Fire in the sky.
Fire on Uranus.
Very porno-like.
So they find Travis in a couple of towns.
It's
a
really
little
just
further
redhead
out.
porn.
An hour or two.
Sky. It's redhead
Redhead
porn.
So they find Travis, an hour and a half, outside of Snowflake in one of the other towns. So the first thing, and I don't know how factual this is, but the first thing Mike does is call, and I think it's MUFON that they call.
Really?
Is one of the
UFO.
I didn't know they existed that far back.
I think that they did.
I think it was just like a community, and then there's like one of the researchers.
One of the ufologists.
Yeah, ufologists.
And so
ufologists, nice.
Ufologists, that's what they're called.
Right.
No, really, I just like it. I mean,
so that's the first person they called because they want to try to get a first-hand account because that's what they think it is, even though nobody's admitting it. So, and then Travis is having, PTSD and flashbacks, things like that. The movie kind of depicts his entire experience.
It's
so
fucked up.
and it is tragic in that movie.
Yeah.
Paul,
the last 10 minutes of that movie is frightening.
I just looked up clips.
One of y'all walk us through.
Don't even get into that.
Let's talk about like
open up some wounds there, Chris.
Yeah, big time.
Jake,
actually,
will you walk us through? Will you walk us through what in the movie? What happens on Travis's experience on the ship that he remembers?
Fuck that.
He flashes back into it looks like a cocoon, like a little.
Hold on, before we get started, I don't know if it's been stated or disclaimed. This movie ruined Chris's childhood, so he's kind of having a hard time. He has download anxiety.
I'm serious. Watching that again, like
I don't blame him.
No, I'm really, and I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to be funny here. Like when I watched it again. I watched it today because Ashley's like, "What the fuck are you? Don't watch movies like this," and I'm like, "It's a clip." Like, don't worry about it. And then I watched it, and it's like, the aliens look like a bunch of like angry, like they want to speak to your manager people. Like literally, they've been given something that had pepper on it, and they said no pepper. They're so angry.
Fucking bacon,
but no, when I saw them though, but I mean, no, it immediately. Like I said, no tomato, and you got tomato. No, but I saw them, But I saw them, and their hands, and the fucking that thing that goes over him, and it's like a big condom.
Plastic,
it's a giant latex thing on him,
and then fucking his eye,
he's
and a needle to the eyes.
But no, I mean, it's a great segue to let your listeners know, and I'm sure there's people out there. But I watched this with my family, and by the way, my parents were always, I watched RoboCop when I was like probably 5 or 6. I watched what's his name take a line of coke off some tits, and I'd buy that for $1. Yeah, like that. We watched every movie. Yeah. They didn't think anything was bad. But anyways, Fire in the Sky. I think even to this day, like that, I don't go to sleep and I kind of like linger. It's because that fucking movie.
Well,
because I always think. I mean, no, really, for the longest time, I had this like thing about being abducted, like a light and being dissected. I'm not fucking with you. I'm being serious. As a child, like that fucking movie fucked me. And watching it again, you guys, because by the way, I have avoided watching that movie again. And when you guys were like, we're gonna talk about Fire in the Sky, I'm like, fuck you guys. Like, Fire in the Sky is like unsolved mysteries. It's like that fucking music comes on and you already know, and you're thinking about that dark fucking hall and there's something fucking there.
The original It with Tim Curry does that.
Oh my God.
But see, but that's the weird thing when it comes to scary movies like that. They're hilarious to me. Like Freddy Krueger and shit. I bust out laughing. When I was a kid, I cracked up at shit like that.
I have a clown phobia because of the movie.
I love it. I think it's hilarious. Like I've never was scared of clowns, but ghosts and fucking UFOs and shit. Nah, I don't fuck around with that shit. And by the way, I think that's the brown in me. That's the old Catholic in me.
Is it?
We don't fuck around no weird shit, no Satan shit. No. We ain't doing none of that, dude.
Let me ask you this, Chris. Like the difference between you said like those scary movies and or whatever, they don't bother you. You laugh at it, but when it comes to UFOs and ghosts, is it because you think it's more believable? Like
there's something about something being in the world, and then there's something that's superficial about those things.
Right, that's what I'm saying. This seems like tangible, like it can happen.
And it's it's the superficialness of it.
Yeah.
Versus what's one of those good old movies? Master of Illusion. You remember that old movie?
Masters of the Universe.
Well, you know,
Puppet
what's his name?
Masters?
Duff Lundgren and his, you know, and his oily muscles.
You remember Puppet Masters?
Puppet
oh my
Masters
God,
too.
that
Fine.
scared
By the way,
shit
even
out
though
of
that's a
me.
silly movie, fuck that with the
That
fucking the
scared
leech
the
thing
shit
coming out of their
out of me.
mouth.
Okay, we're not talking about
Sorry.
scary movies. We're
Okay,
talking
sorry.
about
Fire in the
Sorry.
Sky.
Fire
Scary
back.
in
shit.
the Sky.
So-
So
Go ahead. Go
I'm just
ahead.
trying to get to the stem of it.
hit us
No,
with
what I was
Jacob.
going with is that, you know, Travis wakes up in the ship. He's like kind of on a bunk bed, kind of sort of in a little cocoon. He breaks out of it, and he realizes that, oh shit, the shit's moving. And you see like dust particles kind of shifting everywhere.
Yeah.
He makes his way down this tunnel ish.
Now I watched that clip. Is that the escape, or is that when he's?
No, that's when he's like realizing like, where the fuck am I
Oh,
at?
that's
So he's
fucking
just kind of
scary.
like just observing the area and checking out where he's at. He finally sees like it's like a little chamber of suits. And he goes down, and he sees. And
Hold on, you're skipping the
what am I
part.
skipping part?
You're skipping the part where he's floating around
Yeah.
around all the pods, and he accidentally
Oh, that's
breaks
right.
into the other
Yeah,
one.
like
well,
a
yeah,
body,
because
like
there's a body.
decomposed.
Yeah, there's a body in
decomposed
there.
in
Yeah,
Decomposed body. You're right.
which is
right.
really
Fuck, I forgot about that. I
Yeah.
never
Yeah,
actually
it's
watched that last
disgusting.
10 minutes. Of
and
it.
then that's when they got him, like because like
No, they didn't get him right
No,
there.
they
I
didn't
thought
get him
they
right there.
didn't.
That's when he finds the suits.
Finds the suits,
and
and
he
that was it.
figures out their suits, and then
So that's where is it disjunctive for me? So is there is the probing prior to that?
No,
or
it's after
is,
that.
it's after that?
yeah,
Wow.
so he's still fully clothed. He wakes up
Yeah.
on the ship right
Okay.
there.
He finds these suits, and he realizes, oh shit, these are. And what's crazy, like I've
The
read
suits
stories.
look like what the quote unquote grays are.
Yeah.
and I guess the ones that are. So okay, he's observing the suits.
Damn, I
He
gotta
turns
watch
it
that
around,
again now.
and he can
That's
see like
interesting.
it's transparent, like the actual like it's like a helmet, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Are you
And-
serious? So he actually plays with the suits?
Yeah, he
to some
always
degree?
turns it around. He kind of like observes it inside, right? And then that's when
They grab
an
him.
alien that's in a suit grabs him, and
And
he
he
turns
pulls the head
around
off
and he
of it,
like
doesn't he?
kicks it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then the guy's fucking
Fucking
pissed.
hilarious.
It's fucking
yeah,
pissed.
it's whatever the
Yeah,
fuck it is.
and,
Yeah,
and I guess they're like maybe it's a reptilian, type alien.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
There were now Travis.
See, that's
Walton, correct me if I'm wrong, but Travis has said that the way that they depict the aliens outside of the suits is completely different than what he described in the books and what he actually saw.
outside the suit.
Yeah.
So what do they look
Well,
like without
no, but
the
also
suit?
too, like Jacob.
I don't know because he describes it in the book.
How does
But
it-
so we talked about it last podcast. So he describes it in the book, but at the time that movie came out, Independence Day was coming out also, and
well.
they couldn't his description of the aliens. Independence Day kind of stole from the book, and they didn't want to deal with the legal repercussions of like.
It's been too similar.
Oh,
They've
so
been
actually
too
the
soon.
suit
what
thing,
would've been similar?
that you really
What's
Independence Day
similar?
took the
Yeah,
suit
apparently.
thing? That's
of the actual
fascinating.
alien or
The actual alien,
or,
yeah.
or like
yeah.
the Bill Paxton lookalike motherfucker.
Well, no,
Really,
but-
that's fascinating. I
No,
did
but-
not know that they got that from the book. Wow.
But also, because I remember Jacob, you could fill me in on this. Besides the aliens that abducted him, but he also ran into other beings that were trying to
go
help
into that.
him,
No,
right?
yeah, we'll go into that.
Like
in a
this
little
isn't
bit.
in a movie, but
Yeah,
this is
this
on
is
Travis's
left out of
account.
the movie.
Yeah, but we'll go into that in a little bit. I'm just saying, like, he kicks that helmet off, and it's an alien, and then he's freaking out, and then I guess another alien comes in, and
Yeah,
they
it looks like a
dragging him.
bald Rhea Perlman.
There you go.
That's what it looks like.
Oh God,
And,
that's
then,
terrible.
and they're dragging him down this tunnel,
Yeah,
and you see like
You can clearly see the
watches,
concern on
you
my
see
face.
Sunglasses,
That
you
shit
see-
freaks me
You
out.
see like paraphernalia of other abductees that
Yeah,
are on
yeah.
that tunnel,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
So and they put him on like a bed and
Examination table.
Examination
It's
table.
a big ass rock, and they
Yeah.
fucking saran wrap him to the rock.
Yeah.
Is what
Saran
they
wrap
do.
him.
yeah.
And you can see like this fucking other, alien coming in like, oh, don't fuck with this guy. He was the guy running the fucking
Oh, you
show,
like
right?
that? You
Yeah.
like that? No, that's what I said. It's the guy that said I didn't want pepper on my fucking steak, and you put it on. No, he looks
Son of a
pissed.
bitch.
He looks
Doesn't
pissed,
he looks
yeah.
And
pissed?
he doesn't go fucking 30 weight or 40 weight in Travis's mouth. He
No.
goes a straight
yeah.
he goes like a
40
straight 500 weight. Fucking
Yeah, no,
jail.
I watched it.
and
I
like
watched it.
fucking
That's
down his throat.
like the shit that you
Yeah.
have not changed your engine oil in like years.
But I don't.
That's so
You I think no, put it this way. I think the film can only depict within, and this is anything like religion or we depict things within the realm of our comprehension. So things that we express
Producers
make sense.
too are assholes,
so you see the machine come down and things. But one of the thoughts that I had was like, with all this advanced technology, invasiveness is not required. No, really, because you think about it, we've got a lot of things that we can do acoustically and like invading the body, doing things that we think stuff that can do through the bone, that can be through waves. And
you know what? I never thought about that. That's
why
interesting.
they do anything physical.
So, and that's the whole thing is like, but there are things that need to happen. Like he needed to be intubated. They needed to go, and they needed to like. So in the movie,
restrain him with that.
They had to restrain him. So, and one of the things that differs from the movie that I read in one account from Travis is that, and one of the things that was mentioned is that the wounds and bruises that he was found with were consistent with the type of equipment he was describing that they would have used to like do the things that they did to him. So there was no way that he could have faked that. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't really like fake bruises on your tear ducts. Yeah. You know what I mean? And only your tear ducts and things like that. People discounted it as like, he had 5 days to cook up this story and figure out how he was going to do this and things like that.
Well,
and the whole thing is that like anyway, so the movie depicts, the aliens, doing whatever they're doing to him.
But I think that brings up a good point about in terms of products that you're using. I mean, when we talk about non-invasive, we talk about non-invasive from the fact that it's about reducing pain. Yeah. If pain is not your concern and you can do it on the cheap, then clearly I'm going to use whatever tools that clearly don't care.
Have you seen Scarface?
They are biologically going to work for me to figure out what makes you tick, but I really don't need to worry about.
I can biologically remove your arm with a chainsaw. It's
exactly.
Hurt.
Exactly right. No, I think that's but what you said, Rob, was really like that actually spurred that. That spurred that for me.
So I mean, and that's one of the things. Like, there's a lot of things that differentiate from Travis's actual telling. Paul, why don't you elaborate on some of the things, because you have read and listened to a lot of interviews with Travis about some of the things that have happened.
But I don't know. But go ahead. What?
No, like you were talking about earlier about like he experienced different things on that ship, different beings that were trying to help him.
Because I remember discussing this with Jacob. He was the one who was telling me about it, and they I guess at one point, I don't know when, like timeline wise, when that happened, like compared to the movie. Like I don't know. I think maybe after they fucked with him, and these two beings, right? Wasn't it like almost like a male and a female?
So what it is that he was.
Jake's the one that knows.
No, I don't know too much about it, but I do know that he saw a human-like creature, and it was like a humanoid wearing a helmet. Took the helmet off, and it was like a person with blonde hair. Yeah, and then he kind of blacks out. And then he wakes up, and there's 3 other humanoids, and they're running these tests on him. And actually, they put like the saran wrap on him. It wasn't really the alien look-alike. You know what I mean? But so I was kind of confused when you mentioned something about the Independence Day. Like, what are they saying? What alien looks like?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I read. I remember
my
reading that
assumption is that
I don't know exactly.
Maybe the aliens that took over, or that make the makeshift of the actual human just to blend in with the humans. Yeah. Maybe that's the cross reference that he's trying to get.
Right. Yeah.
I think that the cross reference is Travis's description of what the suits are is what we commonly refer to as the grays.
Right.
And those are.
But what was there? Was there a gray in Independence Day?
Yeah. That's what the aliens in the suits were supposed to be, the grays. You know what I mean? Like
it didn't look like a fucking gray though.
But it kind of does. The big eyes, almond shaped head. I mean, that's
kind
of what they depicted.
But yeah, I see
it was
what you're
embellished
saying.
for our. Trying to make.
But he did have gray suits in the movie, though.
Yeah, you had both a one. But
so maybe that's why he didn't have the humanoids.
No vocal cords.
He didn't have the humanoids in there because it depicted the. I'm thinking of fucking Men in Black. I'm sorry. I'm fucking that up.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so
but
like
the little
okay.
guy.
Yeah, I think Men in Black. The Bill Paxton looked like guy.
No, we're
Will
talking
Smith,
about
come on.
Independence Day.
Oh,
with Will Smith.
Bill Paxton. Okay, well, hold on. You got two aliens
Bill
that do that in
Paxton,
there.
Well, he wasn't Bill Paxton, but he looked like Bill Paxton.
Bill Pullman is in Independence Day.
No, but Bill Paxton looks like
you're talking
Paxton.
about the Vincent D'Onofrio, when he's the
from
roach
Black.
inside
Yeah,
the
exactly.
That's-
skin.
that's
But then there's the
Vincent
other,
D'Onofrio.
and then there's the other
there's a
guy.
resemblance
Then there's
there.
the little alien in the head.
Inside the head, yes.
Yeah.
So I'll get my
man.
fucking movies mixed up.
He's
I
a-
always
It's
get them mixed
okay.
up.
Yeah, he's an Archelian. It's easy
There
to
it
get.
is. I couldn't remember the name.
It's really easy to get movie.
The little cat with
aliens.
the universe and its
You
Orion.
know,
Yeah,
What do you say,
it's
Paul?
beautiful.
But I could have swore. I remember we were talking about this years ago, Jacob. That there was, or at least a human. Somebody was actually trying to or some being was actually trying to help him.
Right.
Was
I think it was shot in still like there's nothing to be worried about. There was no fear about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
That
doesn't
doesn't
calm
sound
him
like
down.
help, but
so
Calm them down.
it's
Just
not
to calm-
necessarily help.
I thought they were trying to help him escape or something like that.
No, I don't think they're
Trying to help him
Oh,
escape
okay.
his clothes and skin.
But then after that,
Yes,
he wakes up.
trying to free the
That's
dragon.
fucked up.
He wakes up after that, and he's naked on the highway.
Oh, okay.
And that's where he
You
goes
know,
and
what's-
finds and phones in
it's
Mike
crazy,
Rogers.
because if you think about that one scene in the movie, I don't know if this actually happened on his account when he was floating around and he found that decomposed body.
Yeah.
whatever. Right then and there, it kind of tells you my fate. I'm fucked. I'm gonna be like this, whatever the fuck I'm at.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm just thinking about why did they bring him back?
That's true. I don't know. Yeah.
And they actually brought him back near where where they abducted him in the first place.
That's a good point because there's a lot of things that when you think about it, why do if they
would you be empathetic? I mean, you're fucking taking them away from.
Well, yeah. Let's
his
talk about
Yeah.
that. Let's just talk about alien abductions in general, and be like, well, if you're an alien species and you're abducting people, why bring them back? Why not just take them, kill them, and dump their bodies in space?
Well, I mean,
yeah,
they're also different on a.
What do they think of perspective too? Like you said, are they
Well,
sympathetic?
not even sympathetic. Think about it. It's science. Statistically, you're either you would those that you're exploring and killing, and those that you're traumatizing and freeing, and then researching and seeing how they.
that could be true.
How
That's
they
purpose.
live, and
Maybe you do a couple
so
of
you
tests on them and then
observe,
release them back
or
in the
maybe
wild
you
and
put
watch
something
them.
in them, and then
Yeah.
there's something
And then
that's
you're gonna watch them
you're
for the
watch.
rest of- yeah,
Who
and
knows?
see
I mean,
what
That's
happens.
true.
it's just science.
Maybe
But
that's
think
true.
about this. If they
The
have the
people that
capability.
didn't return are the ones that died on the table.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And they have time, or who knows that maybe they're. I'm sure you guys aren't Dune people, but there's Golas. Golas. They could be people they literally animated and threw out here to see if they can hack it as humans. And I'm not saying aliens, but literally just reanimated people to see if they can pass and die, and they wouldn't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I
Now
mean,
you're scaring me.
hey, Will, you think about it. I mean,
maybe
I haven't
maybe
seen Dune, but it's on my list. It's one of the things.
well, it's
nobody
these
owns
are
it.
Dune books, so I'm sorry, I'm a Dune nerd. But
Maybe
David Lynch?
You're gonna get about 3 books in there. But by the way, though, the
Like
new
the
movie,
movie?
I'm plugging the new movie. I'm really
Do you
excited.
like- do you
The
like
new
the
movie looks
original?
really good.
Huh?
Do you like the original?
Well, there's a couple, right? So there's a mini series, and then there's actually the
David
movie, the
Lynch
Lynch
one.
movie.
Yeah.
And look, man, I
Isn't
mean,
the guy in the Flintstones in it?
Yeah, that's Colin
Yes.
McLaughlin.
There you go.
Dale
Oh,
Cooper.
yeah, the bad
Dale
guy,
Cooper
yeah.
from Twin Peaks. Yeah.
no, I love him, the bad guy. Yeah.
What else was he in? He was in
He was in Showgirls. He was in Sex and the City.
Sex
Sex and the
and the
City is where I remember him.
Are you?
Yeah.
Sex and
He,
the City.
yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
said it
right. He's with
He was
Charlotte.
also
Yeah.
Who I love.
He's
Oh,
the
he
yes
played
man.
he played a
Charlotte.
recurring character in How I
Give me
Met
the
Your
man
Mother
card.
as well.
Give me the
Have you seen that show?
Man card over
No.
here.
I'm sorry, man.
How I Met Your
look,
Mother? No,
I'm a mama's boy.
you never seen
What
it?
can I say,
Nobody?
man?
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
of
mom
course.
used to
I'm
watch
the
that too.
I'm sorry.
fucking,
I'm the only one?
Doogie Howser, DDS, or
Yeah.
MD, right?
Yeah, but he's in there too.
That'd be a boring ass
Okay,
show.
well, just a.
Well, actually, we can now
role.
you can plug DDSS with a fucking Sturgill Simpson Dig Daddy Survival School. What? Have y'all heard that shit, man? Go Sturgill Simpson. I don't know if y'all listen to Sturgill Simpson,
No.
but he's like what do they call it? Like Outlaw Country. Check him out. He's really cool. But he actually has a he has a anime he just did on Netflix. He did a whole album around it. It's pretty cool. But he has a thing now, Dick Daddy Survival School. It's fucking hilarious. So his thing now is like Dick Daddy.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know. It makes you. Going back to makes you wonder. Yeah, those are some good theories. Like why they'd bring him back. Just maybe he's being watched this whole time. He doesn't even know it.
You never know.
And just seeing from the experiments they did to see how he react and just studying him.
Those decaying corpses. Maybe they just forgot about him. Like, oh shit! They're there.
I forgot about him. Jesus.
Well, maybe they died and they're studying how they decompose.
That's true. Maybe during the experiments,
how they decompose in zero
they
gravity.
didn't make
Maybe
it.
it was just Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well,
too. I don't know. That's just in the movie.
You have to think about space and science too. I mean, these are beings that are completely different, composed of similar minerals, but they could be the composition or the constitution of them could be in completely different ways.
Yeah,
such that they create different species.
Think about it from an outside perspective. Pull yourself away from what you know of biology and
that's the thing. You really have to detach yourself.
Chris is right. I mean, if you're an alien species and you pull back and you're like, okay, here is an unlimited supply of things for us to fuck around with. Right. We can do whatever we want because time is really not a problem for these creatures, So they're like, let's do this to this one and then we'll watch them. And then let's do this and kill them. And what happens when, because we do this, let's compare what happens when they do this. Things like that. And then you watch customs from an anthropological standpoint. They're watching customs and things like that from all around the world and interacting with different races in different ways. And then they're watching archaeologically, what happens as civilizations grow and they're interacting with them in different ways. They're like, well, what if we intervene here? What if we do this? What if we do that? What if we do, you know what I mean? Maybe they're just like, hey, there's this primitive world we're fucking around with. Maybe they're just scientists.
Well, hell, you think about it, Dave. Clearly it doesn't matter. They're highly advanced species. So you also think that they have to have a concept of ethics. So maybe the ethics is a mathematical algorithm. So every 1 billionth person that we abduct, we bring back and we let them live. The rest of them are in these cocoons decomposing.
It could be that
I don't know. Maybe their ethics are mathematical. They're not feelings. They're not.
It's not the same as us.
If you transpose and transverse, like what we do as humans onto, what an alien would do, observing one of these, observing, what do you call it? Like a species, let's just say you're observing a species randomly.
Yeah.
So you would want to, not interfere or intervene with that species, in any way. You want to observe but not interact
in a natural habitat.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You want to observe but not. You want to be. You don't want to interact with it. You don't want to change it.
Right.
You just want to observe. And the times that that we hear about alien abductions and people that say hey, like Travis Walton say, hey, I was abducted and this is what I saw. Blah 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 blah. All these things could be just the result of. Man, fuck, these are the ones that slipped through the cracks.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? These are the ones that, fuck, we couldn't control these guys. We fucked this one up.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And, on the next round, they're like, okay, we're a little bit more careful. That's why you have this strain of UFO abductions and shit like that from, the 1950s to the early 80s. You know what I mean? Where you have a bunch of people reporting UFOs and UFO abductions, whereas... you get closer and closer to where time is now, they kind of slow down. So because they're getting more and more careful. You know what I mean? Because as scientists, like I've said, you want to observe but not interact.
Right.
So
if I was an alien, I'd just come down here and be like, how illegal am I?
Damn.
Yeah.
Would you be a brown
Build
alien
the
or a white alien?
MAGA! Build it.
Would you be a brown alien or a white alien?
So, no, really, that actually does beg the question are we going to build a wall in space for Space Force?
That's why we got Space Force.
Hell yeah,
Force. That's the ticket. Now we're going to build the wall for the illegal aliens in space.
So here's
Jesus.
now Now, for as much things as Donald Trump has been criticized about, and I will just state this right now: I am not a Trump fan, or a supporter. But I'm just postulating this theory: what if Trump, as a sitting president who was a citizen, a non-partisan political person coming into politics to become elected president, because we know that before he ran, he straight said that he would run in whatever party would get him elected. Right. Years before Obama was elected, he had the right. Let's just say that, put politics aside, Donald Trump becomes president. He creates the Space Force because maybe as a private citizen, he has learned enough as president to think that something needs to be done about this now, while he can still control it rather than not.
No, I mean, that's,
Think about it. He announced the creation of Space Force a year before the Pentagon confirmed that there are videos of unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's really a fun theory nonetheless, but it would kind of negate Pentagon, and I mean, put it this way: if the conception of a conspiracy theorist is that they've known this whole time, then put it this way: the making something public about some sort of defense force is almost superfluous, right? Like, that would mean that they've been working on this since Roswell. Yeah. Right? Like defense has been something they've known to do something for this long. I don't know. It's just because I mean, it negates any conspiracy theory. Then any conspiracy theory you have, then obviously they've just been sitting on their hands. They really knew nothing until Trump understood that Space Force was necessary. Well, I don't know. It's a bit of. I
wasn't going there.
No. I like your theory because it is funny, and I know where you're going. But,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying.
I agree with you.
As a private citizen, he's like, because let's say that the president is only privy to certain information. He's not privy to every single piece of. Like when you become president, just like in Independence Day, he didn't know about the aliens. They don't just hand you a packet and be like, here's your first day as president. Here's all the alien information. Get used to it. You know what I mean? Like it comes as a need to know thing. Like as things come up, you have to make decisions about it as a president, as commander in chief. So if you don't need to know if the previous commander in chief said in a policy that there's nothing that's going on right now that affects that policy, maybe the current commander in chief doesn't need to know about it.
I don't know.
But knowing that these videos were released around the same time, and then it took a while for them to acknowledge what they were. Maybe the fact that Donald Trump knows enough, I hate to say this, but knows enough to be able to create a defense force in space, for space, even though we don't even have the technology to back it up, but that's not the point. Maybe they know what the timeline is. Maybe they say, like, if we don't do this now, we'll never be able to ramp this up enough to get to the point where it'll be useful.
Fighting chance.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I mean,
a safety net, maybe.
I mean, I get that. I guess if you take it as a point of what Donald Trump's insistence of it is, it's that other countries have already been militarizing space, and it merely is just a show that we're finally taking serious the threats.
What other country has a militarized space force?
Well, mostly China. China has defensive satellites.
Everything in China is defensive. Everything in China is militarized. So you can't excluding China. Like,
Russia. But what I'm saying is, other countries that have satellites in space, their satellites do have, or at least it's understood that there are capabilities within space that people have, and lasers and microwaves, but lasers.
Are you saying some of these are actually
freaking lasers attached to
capable of being weapons?
Weapons.
Well,
weapons
we're talking about Cold War, like Goldeneye satellites.
Weapons taking down satellites, taking down communications.
Yeah,
but again,
it's fucking crazy. Saying that.
Look, it's like when we get into the UFO thing, especially with government. Like I said, it's just odd to me that if we really are to presume that conspiracy theories, let's just really, if we take them as true, right? Yeah. Right. If the predicate is that all conspiracy theories are true, if that's true, then that means that the information we don't have, the government clearly has had, and that means that they've literally been running on incompetence for, I don't know, 50, 60,
I don't think
70,
that's
80
true
years.
at all.
No, and I don't think so either.
I'm going to lay out a timeline for you.
Yeah.
And I just want to postulate this for everybody.
Which is why
it's about 5 minutes of dialogue here.
What I'm saying is that's why I think Space Force is, put it this way, to postulate that Space Force is a response to it, it means that they've already had a Space Force, that Space Force now is nothing but a visible reality of something these guys have had since Roswell.
Right. So here's my hypothesis on this. So if you think about America and our space program, we had a quote unquote private funded government oversight space program in NASA, right? So we had NASA was a semi-government agency funded governmentally, but was a private organization for the most part. It was not a government organization. So NASA, NASA shelves the shuttle mission, the shuttle program. Why? Why all of a sudden just shelve the shuttle program without having a replacement for it and a good way to get men and women into space for whatever reason that we've been doing for the last 50 years. Okay. So without having obviously without having a replacement for it, what's the best way to do that? Have a tragedy. So what did we do? We had a tragedy. So all of a sudden we have this tragedy that says, okay,
Discovery, right?
Discovery, yeah. So we're talking about the shuttle Discovery tragedy,
which Columbia precedes it,
right? So we pull now we're out of the manned space program. So now we're sending astronauts up on Russian space, Russian
the
space
Soyuz
capsules, the Soyuz
yeah.
capsules and stuff like that. I'll take a couple while you're in there. Okay. Of these.
Yeah, put some Miller Lights out here, man.
Yeah.
What? I mean Eureka Millers.
No. It's fine.
I know you'll edit it out. I'm fucking around. Give me some of them EMs, baby. Give me some M's.
Put some of that beluga light on the table.
Goddamn right.
I know, right? Now that we're done drinking the trash, bring out the Millers.
Bring out the beluga light, baby.
Look, the belugas.
Look, Millers are my. That's my backdrop, right, guys. I'm sorry. Thank y'all. I appreciate that.
Here's the theory. So you have a space tragedy. So now we're not doing manned space flight anymore. Why aren't we doing manned space flight? Because NASA is handling all these things, mission control for the International Space Station, because we put the most money into it, things like that. But they're not launching capsules. So we're effectively disconnecting NASA from the mission. So now we've got astronauts that are going up with the Soyuz capsules and things like that. Now we have... get your phone away from the thing.
It is.
Is that really your...
That's his phone. Because he's watching YouTube videos.
I'm not watching shit.
Whatever. Anyway,
it's just a signal.
No, sincerely, I didn't think phones did that anymore because it's a different signal these days.
Doesn't.
Oh, wow.
It
okay.
still doesn't. So now you've effectively pulled NASA and the government out of... You've given the government a good out to say, okay, we're out of space, right now. Now, as you're progressing into now you know that there's things that have to progress on a certain timeline. We're going to have to admit that there's UAP. We're going to have to create some kind of militarized space force. Well, to respond to certain things.
I'd give you a probable alternative.
Now we've given government contracts to SpaceX to send our own astronauts and whatever else up into space.
Yeah.
And we can pay them enough money to just shut up.
No, and I mean, I think the timeline and things that go together are plausible. I think what's more probable for me is that technology finally has gotten to a point where we don't really have to sacrifice lives, which means that we can probe things. We can go to Mars. We can send since the 70s, we can send Journey out and Voyager. I mean, we can literally go to the ends of the solar system without ever have. What's it? Yes, Voyager? Absolutely, it is. Yes, Voyager is still sending data.
One of them is not. I think
that's the
Voyager.
Well, there's a couple of Voyagers, yeah.
Well, so, Voyager 1 burned up in Jupiter's atmosphere?
I think they had to. I think they finally terminated, but then there's another. But the main point is I think at some point our technology has gotten to a point. So, and by the way, I agree with you. This is where I think SpaceX is coming around, or rather,
Texas, right?
or rather, or rather, we have
super close to Mexico.
Yeah, or rather, we have a sense for because here's the thing. Space exploration in itself is something that can be unmanned. Now what we're on the next path. The next path is colonization. Right, that's what you're going to need space flight for.
That's what you need SpaceX for, because that's
and I agree with you.
And that's what Elon has said. So that's what he wants to colonize Mars.
So what I'm saying is,
I
think where NASA, where I think the government finally realizes we don't really need a manned system anymore. We can use these other these other programs. Let them fly. Let them spend the money. Their capital. We'll pay them to do it. We don't actually have to keep it. We don't have to keep a system for it. But we'll spend our money R&D by creating what's going to be the discovery or not discovery, but the ability to understand other places where we're going to eventually send the ships that are going to be the ships that colonize.
The government has their hand in the cookie jar.
I disagree, because when you transfer that responsibility of manned spaceflight and space exploration to a private industry, you remove the public oversight of said venture, and that's any venture. So once you move it to the private sector, you can say, well, we've contracted with SpaceX to do this. Same thing they do with Boeing. Does Boeing disclose all of their patents and things like that?
Well, I agree with you, but I think...
Will SpaceX? No. Because you know what? They're a private industry, and they don't have to, and nobody will question
if you are a conspiracy theorist, were you ever expecting the government to tell you the truth about anything anyways?
No.
So what would public oversight make any difference about having a public institution?
But it makes it easier to cover up.
I suppose so, but it seems like they could do it completely by taking your money and not ever having to worry about it. So, I mean, either they're putting it in a private industry or they're doing it themselves. They're still screwing you.
In the age of the internet, as the internet advances and as security becomes more and more difficult to secure, anything on the internet becomes more and more difficult to secure.
Without a doubt. I agree.
As information is becoming, more and more widely dispersed, I think that the government, with all its bureaucracy and all of its red tape, there's no way to conceal all of these conspiracy theories and all of these conspiracies if they exist. I'm not saying that they do or not.
Well, clearly
the
FOIA request clearly tells us it may have took, I don't know, 30, 40 years to get the information, but clearly it demonstrates that there's some sort of transparency.
There. So, and I think that once now,
which kind of foils the whole idea that they're not transparent. And they are transparent to some degree.
And I think that, honestly, the government is like, well, there's no way we're going to be able to cover this up anymore. So we might, if we go any further with this, it's going to become public knowledge. Whereas if we transfer this to a private institution, nobody's going to hack a private company, because that's a civil crime, and you can be sued for that, which is nowadays is a much more significant penalty than having to go to quote unquote jail.
Yeah, but it could also just be an understanding of the public itself. I mean, we could take COVID-19 and just the concept of the fact that you cannot drill into people's heads that it might be a real threat, that people are like, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to show them it's not, and then 70 of them come down with it, and 20 of them are dead. I mean, it's just... So, I mean, maybe... So maybe I would think I think maybe if the concern is that if we start telling everybody that grays are abducting people, and that there's, faster than light travel, and there's clearly things that we have no ability to defend nor explain. We're probably going to get that crazy lady going on top of, they remember Independence Day when she has a sign and she's like,
Yeah,
and the beam comes down. It's like
blows right
that.
down.
It'll be that person who.
That's fine. We want to purge
are you
those people.
Sexually,
Are you saying all this is a
sexually
for safety
charged,
measure?
baby.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree. Look, if I had information, I'm just being honest. Look, I study government. That's what I've spent my whole life doing. I'm here in my master's for public administration. This goes back to Plato and the Republic, the noble lie. What do I have to? When it comes to a concept of safety, a concept of creating law and order, whatever, to some degree, those things matter more than the truth itself. And I'm sorry to say that.
That's true.
And some people might not like that, but sometimes
it's the truth.
If you look at what happened to the grocery stores, people went out and bought a bunch of toilet paper, and they really didn't need toilet paper, but they did it anyways.
It's just like when Bush made a comment about how he needed to do something about a pandemic that is coming, and they were just sitting on their asses focusing on counterterrorism.
You should watch Hangar One.
Uh-huh.
I do want to watch it though. I do want to watch it.
There's a lot of stuff about the cover-up from Roswell via presidents all the way through H.W. Bush, being that he was director of the CIA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before he became president.
His father. Think about his
Prescott.
father. Prescott Bush.
Prescott.
Severe. All the Bushes deeply connected into the CIA.
Absolutely, yeah.
I just think
the reason that Bush became president was to squash Reagan's, because Reagan was Jimmy Carter and Reagan were both had they were both big UFO. They were into UFOs. They both had independent sightings and were they were both. Hell, Reagan was an actor, so he was an independent citizen.
Carter was a scientist.
Well, JFK wanted to take space exploration to the
and that's
next
why
level.
He got killed.
And then apparently H.W. Bush was on site. You heard about that?
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't.
On site in Dallas during that time.
Well, look. Again, I think that at the end of the day, if it was four of us that were presented with this evidence, and we knew the evidence was something that would be so world-shattering. Just think, if somebody put it on your desk and said, "Hey, this is going to destroy world markets. This is going to melt down the way that we live every day. And it's your choice about what you're going to do with this." I guarantee you'll be the first person to pour yourself some Jameson, take a good shot, and take that stuff and put it in the trash and light it on fire.
Or you'll be the guy that says, you know what? It'll take you 10 years to figure out how to spread this information out enough to make a smear campaign and release just enough to get just enough information out to the point where we reach the end. And acknowledge it where it doesn't affect anything when it happens.
Look, let me let you know.
I
agree with you.
We have a COVID pandemic going on right now, and they choose right in the middle of that to acknowledge that these videos are
I would
real.
tell you the plausibility.
They could have done that 8 months ago.
The plausibility,
when we did the fucking video.
The plausibility of
out.
psyops is quite clearly demonstrated. Yes, they do this and they play mind games all the time. But I would say though that those videos, if it wasn't the Pentagon before, I know for sure the Air Force had already said that these things were legit, and that was months ago.
They did not. Most of the.
I think I can go find the article, but I know they already said this was legit before that they fully on.
When those were Navy videos from Navy pilots, and they released them, and they said they were legitimate, but they never acknowledged what they were.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that was the whole point.
We're splitting hairs here. I think if we're talking about,
I really think
where you're demonstrating where it's at.
I think it's a big deal to say where it's at.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just, again, for me, conspiracies and same thing when it comes to whether the Jews are destroying people and gay. There's a part of the podcast. There's a gay conspiracy and George Soros and Alex Jones and we don't
talk about
leave Ben Shapiro out of that. Don't put Ben and Alex Jones in the same.
By the way, gay frogs. No, but right, no.
Off the cliff.
But it's the same way when you. I don't care whether you're left or you're right. The left wing has nut job stuff. You can go down the path. You can go down a rabbit hole all day. You go to the right side. Don't matter. For me, when it comes down to what is plausible, and by the way, plausibility is not deniability, meaning that just because I think it's something plausible that I preclude all things could be possible. No. What I mean to say is that at some point when we conceptualize what is the world, it's like I yell at my father all the time because he's a crazy conspiracy theorist too.
I know the feeling.
No, and I mean this. No, I mean this in general. I mean this in general. I'm saying anybody who your listeners are conspiracy theorists, listen to me. I fight with my father all the time, and man, he says the weirdest, craziest, most racist things I've ever heard. But I will tell you this: it's like I tell him all the time. I'm like, how is this helping you eat today? How is this helping you be a better father today? How is this helping you go and live in the world? It's not. You're not going to stop anything. They're not trying to rape your children at a pizza place. They are not
like a government
employee. They are not right. Like what do you think? What thing is this doing other than the fact that you have a
That's exactly what they want you to think.
Exactly. Yeah. Outside of the fact that you feel you have some sort of esoteric knowledge that now makes you feel special in some way that it now elevates you above other people, and that's the only feeling you really have when you're a conspiracy person. It really is. It's the fact that you've elevated yourself above people who don't know things. In reality,
you're woke, bro.
Exactly. You're woke. You're truly woke. You're not really, actually, because the most woke person is the person who gets out of bed and actually believes that there will be a hard surface below their feet. You want to be real serious? Let's go to Humean understanding of the possibility of the real, and then let's get rid of that. Right, exactly. But anyways, I just tell you want to be real. You want to get real skeptical. Let's start talking about reality. Really, is it real?
That goes back to like the card and like
exactly.
I think because I am.
Exactly.
Or, you know what I mean? Like questioning that. Like, are we?
Rant over, but I mean, they're so bad these days. It really is. Everything. The pandemic, Bill Gates, vaccines, oh my God. At some point, I'm just like,
Hot Pockets. And
no, really. Can we just all agree that we just want to drink good beer and live and have fucking crawfish again? That's all I fucking want to do.
I want to next week and y'all go fuck yourselves.
I just want a crawfish fucking boil, and I want a bunch of people to hang out and just have a good time. I don't care.
But we're cool.
6 feet apart. And we're not. We're actually all on top of each other right now in a pile.
No, we're not.
Yes.
We are actually, 6 feet apart.
Chris is telling the truth.
We are all in a pile right now. I am nestled right underneath Rob's.
Alcohol kills COVID-19.
Rubbing each other's beards.
Absolutely. Actually, both of these gentlemen are sitting underneath our beards gently.
I was going to say, you guys got a nice little pile
nesting.
of COVID.
They're nesting.
Pile of COVID.
I will go and disinfect myself when I leave this podcast. Like I do every podcast, regardless of COVID-19.
You did do like Ace Ventura, strip off your clothes, and that song plays in the background, you put them in a fire.
Douse them in rubbing alcohol, light them on fire.
Cry in the
corner.
corner.
A whole pack of chewing gum.
Your gun is digging into my hip.
Iron Finkel.
I thought you were going to come out of a rhino's ass. With that.
No, that's when nature calls, bro.
Second one.
I
Second one. Still
asked
good.
my old boss if he got COVID-19 yet. He said no. Like, oh, that's too bad.
That's too bad. Jesus.
Wow.
No, we all probably have it or had it.
And on that note,
hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Oh my God.
It is time for us to sign off for the night. Chris, thank you for coming over and joining us.
Jake's
got something to say.
No, before you do that, do you think Travis Walton's telling the truth?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I think
that scares the living shit out of me.
Here's the biggest takeaway from A Fire in the Sky. If you read the book and listen to Travis's accounts, one of the biggest things to take away from that.
Here's another 20 minutes.
No. This should
I'm being serious. I know.
Really
I want to talk about it now. Just kidding.
All of those guys took lie detector tests, and all of them passed multiple times. All of their stories, whether they were telling the truth or not, they believed that they were telling the truth, which either means one of two things. Either one, they were telling the truth, or two, they were abducted by aliens and their minds wiped and they believed that they were telling the truth. That's hard for a consistent test to be across 7 different people, because there were 7 people in that crew, not 5. 7 people that all recalled the exact same circumstance and situations, and all of them passed lie detector tests multiple times by multiple different administrators. That's important to remember.
Right, for sure.
And Travis's story, regardless, just like Bob Lazar's story, has not changed in 40 plus years. So that's important to remember. That's a hard thing. People that have, like what's that fucking guy's name with the fucking bullshit alien videos on YouTube? That we talked about.
Wait, on YouTube?
No.
You talking about on the History Channel?
Maybe I don't.
Aliens.
He has that. No, not George. Not George Tsoukalos. Yeah. No, the guy who had the documentary where he has like. He films that alien outside of his sliding glass door.
He's a fraud.
The fraud guy.
God,
I love that. Yeah, the fraud guy. No, you know that guy.
He got child
porn charges.
Yes.
Shit, dude.
Fuck, I forgot his name. Like he was very popular in the UFO community. He claimed that he got visited.
I love that you guys know this so well. I didn't know y'all were so.
I
didn't know y'all were so into this. Y'all were teaching me this. I didn't know any of this
like
stuff.
he claimed he was visited, by I don't know if he was abducted or not, but he had
something like
videos
75 times.
I don't know, like some shit. Like he said that like they visit him,
but
he also
convinced his wife that this chick he was having an affair with was a chick that
oh God, that's so good. That's the way to get out of it. That's too good.
That this girl was impregnated by him on an alien spacecraft, and that's how she got pregnant with his child. It's really. Can you Google it? You better Google it fast enough because.
Oh, sorry. Now we want to hear. Now we want to hear the beeps, the little rhythm sound.
I forget what that fucking.
But I do want to say because I feel like I've been this like shitter on conspiracy. No, look, I think you can take Travis's story outside of a conspiracy. Because here's what I say about conspiracy theories in the sense of when we talk about a truth about something like this about what happened to Travis.
Right.
Travis's incident is completely outside of having to deal with what's going on with NASA or NORAD or the Pentagon or what. I mean, literally, Travis's story is Travis's story.
Stan Romanek.
So we can so we can clearly believe Travis, and we could actually believe it's plausible. We could explore it. We could talk to him about it. We could take the light, whatever. That stands apart really from all of the umbrella of things that go into the UFO community. I think sometimes we feel like if you don't believe one little part of it, you throw everything out. No. I can take something and say, I think that's something that's kind of crazy, and it seems plausible to me. Yeah.
So go read Stan Romanek's story because it's really funny, but. I think it's
full
funny.
Of shit, man.
He's full of shit, but I think that what's really funny is that when I Googled alien visits guy with fake videos and child porn, Stan Romanek came up.
I Googled something similar like that. That's the first result. Stan Romanek.
Look, I was going to say
that's what I
was going to say.
Everybody can see that.
So if we believe that the government is listening to us or watching our internet search history, I can't wait to the one guy that sees that.
God damn, fuck that.
So how do you like polygraph tests? Do you think they're legitimate?
I mean, there is a margin of error. The thing you have to remember about polygraph tests is it measures your stress levels. So people that can beat a polygraph test obviously are people that can beat a polygraph test mostly are sociopaths. they know that they know how to fool it. They've studied it. They can control their breathing, their heart rate, things like that. They are fallible to a certain extent, but to be 5-7 people with the exact same story and all of them become conclusive, come on. That's tough.
I was just going to bring that up. Like, polygraph or not, like, all of them believe and say the same story.
Right.
Like, regardless of what they saw, they all believe that they saw the same thing.
Yeah, that's like, that seems like, I'm going to say not impossible, but like, it's pretty damn hard to get, that many people to be that, convincing and what they believe.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, if you want to use statistics here, I think what would be really interesting is to take samples of either each country or regionally and just say, have you been abducted? Or do you believe or know someone who's been abducted? And just to see what a baseline
There's
is.
going to be a lot of bullshit.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter though, because that's noise. But at some point, you know that there's clearly a good majority of people would be like, "Oh, fuck, what the fuck is this? This is crazy. I would never." No. But
But
just imagine. Just imagine if you see consistently like 10-15% no matter where you went, or if you see spikes in certain areas.
Well, that's true.
I mean, you'd have to explain it. There's ways statistically you can explain spikes, but I mean, let's do a real study.
Yeah,
let's do a real fucking study.
You actually said something.
Nobody will fund it because they know what the results are.
You know, and then let's try to match up.
Might not be able to recall, like you said too.
Well,
that's very important. So like,
and then
there might be a huge number.
And by the way, then try to match it up with actual phenomenon that happened at that time. I mean, was there increased phenomenon at that time?
Exactly.
At the time that you saw.
And by the way,
one of your speakers, I know one of your listeners would be like, "Well, that's totally statistically inconsistent." Because actually, there's a thing about storks flying and birth rates and matching them. If anybody knows statistics, you've heard this example many times. But I don't care what you say. This is something that can be done.
9 months from now, there's going to be a lot of births.
40% of people have taken a statistical analysis class in college.
Upcoming day and night.
No, exactly right.
Jake, you have what?
No. I was just trying to get you
a final
thought. That was a great question at the end.
Because people are saying that this story came about because
it's that meme.
During pop culture during that time.
Look at that.
Thank you, sir.
It's amazing.
He cut his hair a little while ago.
Yeah, really?
Hey, I'm in the room.
And
your mustache is next.
And media outlets are also about abduction. The Barney and Betty Hill and stuff like that. This was his
another good one.
Like trying to way to make fame. Get money, stuff like that.
Which is funny because he never tried to make fame of it. He did the book years later, and he just like Bob Lazar tried to stay off the radar.
Yeah.
I want to read the book now. Again, it just the movie just traumatized me, but I never went down the rabbit hole. But I mean, hell, I'm willing to read the book, man.
I think you should read the book.
You know what? Ultra Jacob, though, if you really want to read good about Alien Agenda by Jim Mars.
Okay,
you've heard of Jim? Have you? I don't know.
That's another book.
He's a famed I guess he's considered UFOologist.
He's a journalist, man.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's a journalist. Yeah. No, he's a journalist first, and like that's what he died a few years ago. I met him. One time, I was drunk as shit too. He was such a nice guy, man. Like he's from Waco or Dallas, right? He's from from Texas.
Well, just think, there's only so many times we'll scoff and laugh at someone who said that they're ufologist, and eventually, right, there'll be a whole study.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, like
Berkeley will be the first.
That guy,
there you go.
But that guy is like he kind of covers a lot of not just UFOs, but like
too, probably.
A lot of major conspiracy, like a whole field of like conspiracies, like secret societies, and 9/11. It was one of his good books. I forgot what it's called.
Loose Change.
But no, he does.
I'm just messing with you. I love
he's a good journalist, so I like. He just says like I don't know. Sorry, I'm rambling, but check him out, Jim Mars.
Jim Mars,
great author.
So what do you
no, go ahead. I'll close it out, but whenever you're done.
No, I go ahead.
2 hours.
I got something else to say.
Well,
God damn it!
So one of the things that I would like to bring up, maybe we had somebody ask us online to revisit this, and maybe this is getting back into our thing is. One of the things that George Knapp brought up on Coast to Coast recently is
Coast to Coast with Art Bell. Art
Jim
Bell.
Mars.
I'm just saying Art Bell because I remember me and my stepdad used to listen to it.
George
and
Knapp
I loved
does
it.
Now, but so one of the things that George Knapp brought up is there was actually after our Skinwalker Ranch, we've done Skinwalker Ranch Part 1 and 2. They have actually released the name, and there have been some interviews with the buyer, the recent buyer of Skinwalker Ranch, and why they bought it. So that may be a future episode.
Chris? Skinwalker?
No, I think that's a no.
Listen to our Skinwalker Ranch episodes and watch the Jeremy Corbell.
This
George
is some
Knapp
fuckt up shit. This is some crazy
that's a good
phenomenon.
Thing. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy phenomenon. It's like an interstellar highway.
Yeah.
Jake, I'll let you finish it out, and then we'll sign off.
No, just going back to the Travis Walton thing.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Damn it, fuck Taylor.
So 30 years after the book release, Walton appeared on the Fox Game Show. I don't know if you heard about that.
No.
He appeared on the Fox Game Show, The Moment of Truth, and was asked if he, in fact, was abducted by a UFO in November of 1975, to which he replied, obviously, yes. The polygraph test determined he was lying. And on that note...
What? We wasted 2 hours.
Nah, I don't know.
For real?
Hold on, are your shows 2
Polygraph?
hours?
Really?
Or you cut them?
Yeah, but
at that
that's what I
show.
wanted to
You cut your shows down, or they're 2 hours?
They're 2 hours.
Oh my
We try to
god!
think them pretty close to 2
There's
hours.
still
200
10,000
yeah.
streams.
Yeah.
The fuck is wrong with you people? What are
They
you
love
doing?
us.
I'm just
Shut
kidding
up,
around.
Chris.
I want to know, but I would say I love every single one of you listeners for loving and listening to the people.
This travesty.
No, really,
on the podcast.
no, really. I want you to know that these are people that I grew up with. Rob is someone that they know clearly, and I love because of that. I didn't know him growing up, but really though, you're listening. You're listening to
Jersey
some
Village High
amazing
School
people.
was always our homecoming rival.
You are.
bitch.
I'm telling you, you are
against one.
listening to good people that I'm telling you right now. They're this is great. I mean, really,
Chris,
I'm
thank you so much
happy
for
you.
coming
Yeah.
on, driving, coming out here.
Who's going to win the beard challenge between you guys?
I've already won
Fucking
it.
Rob, what are you talking about? I concede. I kneel and concede.
Fucking
it's
Viking
over.
versus
What's the one
Poncho
with the,
Villa
wins,
over here.
I don't know.
Yeah, goddamn right I win.
Who was
Hold
it?
on, Paul
Inigo
and
Montoya over here has
Look,
taken the crown.
Paul and Jacob's beard is just to the back of their neck. It's just not in the
back
front.
of the neck. Yeah, my beard's in the back.
You know what?
It's not a party in the back. It's a beard in the back.
You know what? I will get. Everybody has their strengths. My strength is growing a beard. Jake and Paul's strength is growing hair on top of their head, which I obviously don't have. So
I'm glad you're self-aware.
We have a marvelous beard, and it makes up for it, Rob. I'm
Does
jealous. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I wish mine didn't curl up. I look like fucking
Mine
Leonidas,
curls up also.
but like a really fat. He let him go. Self Leonidas.
let me tell you the secret. The secret is conditioning and a beard straightening comb.
See, by the way, I do condition the shit out of it, and I do
this
have
is another Taylor Peak fucking conversation.
Oh, TP,
God
man.
damn it.
T-Pain. I want you to know how much we
T-Pain.
talked about you tonight, and I miss you, baby. I swear to
enough
God.
of T-Pain.
I'm going to talk. Look, I'm like, what's his name from Kingpin? Look, baby, we had a lot of good nights. We had a lot of good nights. I just,
Oh, Bill
let's
Murray?
make it happen again, baby.
Fucking Bill Murray. I love that movie.
I'm almost
I
out.
fucking love that
I'm almost
movie.
out, but I got some beard
gonna
balm
watch
that
that
Taylor was
tonight.
making the first time that
Oh,
the
that's
Armada
right.
came
He
on.
was, yes.
And it's fucking good. And I'm almost out, so I mean, I don't know.
Make
Maybe he's
more
making some
T-Pain.
more.
We need you to make more beer.
What does Woody Harrelson say? They said, so he stopped drinking? Like, wow.
Yeah, he's like,
what were you buying?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he's doing the interview. What have you been doing all these years? Well, I've been drinking. That's all I've been doing. And like, oh, have you stopped drinking since? No.
Why-
Well, why are you buying? He said he hesitates. He's like, oh, why are you buying?
Okay, that I tell you what, if y'all want
That-
to do, if you want to do an episode, let's do Kingpin.
Yeah.
No, it should actually be
No,
a
we
Farrelly.
should
No,
not.
no,
Yeah,
it should,
I love that fucking
listen,
movie.
it should be a Farrelly brother and a Cohen.
I
It
love-
should be Kingpin and fucking Big
Big
Lebowski.
Lebowski, yeah.
I-
I
if you
fucking
do
love
that, I'm
Kingpin.
here and I
I
will
know.
champion that all day long.
I'm there
Can't
with you.
quote. You can't do a commentary on quotable movies because you'll never make it to the fucking movie.
That's probably true.
anyways,
That's
anyways.
probably true. I won't shut the fuck up because
love
I know
y'all.
all of it.
Go to
All the
Anyway,
dialogue.
Steal someone's pizza?
Anyway.
Like, hey.
Anyway,
Hey, what are you doing? Give me that fucking music.
and on that note, I have been Rob.
I am Jake.
I'm Chris.
I'm supposed to be Paul.
He's supposed to be Paul. We have been Gentlemen No Class. We will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you, Chris, for coming out.
Thank you.
We'll see you
Thank you,
episode
sir.
Hopefully I don't get
65.
abducted on the way home.
Yes.